wherever you want to start.
I'm live. I don't believe you. I'm on right now. What's up, Big Brown Breakdown listeners? It is Tuesday on a glorious afternoon in Los Angeles, Colorado. I almost said Colorado. It's going to be a long day. Been working nonstop. Almost said Colorado. Jesus Christ. Los Angeles, California. It is 85 and sunny as balls here. I see the East Coast is just getting dumped on with snow. Don't miss snow. Don't miss cold days. So it's good to be in LA. Not bragging, just saying it's good to be in LA. Man, yeah, busy time. Just released the TFATK Greats collab commercial today on my Instagram. We have a series of 4 of those. There's a common theme in these commercials. It's just basically I'm trying to get the ad out and something's always happening, distracting. So the first one was I get shit on by a bird, and then this next one we just released is a super fan, and I think it's the funniest one. The other ones are good too. And the shoes release on March 23rd at greats.com. It's the only place to get them at Greats. They're limited edition. And then if those go well, we're going to do more collabs. I want to make a mid-top and high tops. That's usually what I wear. But we decided to start with the low tops. That is March 23rd at greats.com. It's the only place you can get them. So I'm excited for these. And I'll be releasing all the commercials. We shot a bunch of them, but I think we're only going to release 4 before March 23rd. What else? Other housekeeping stuff. Big Brown Breakdown's coming live to La Jolla, California. I know I keep saying San Diego, and people in La Jolla are like, that's not San Diego, bitch. So, you know what I'm saying. It's in the general area, for God's sakes. La Jolla, the Comedy Store, and that is April 27th. That bad boy is almost sold out. tfatk.com for tickets. If you want to listen to the Fire and Kid live for a once-in-a-lifetime experience, we're coming to the East Coast. I swear to God, if it snows, I'm going to bust. And by bust, I mean not get on the plane and do the show. So make sure we pray to the East Coast gods that it's not miserable weather out there. Washington, D.C., April 9th, and we're in Philadelphia, April 8th. Trucadero and 9:30 Club for both of those. I think that is about it, man. Stuff with the house is going great. Escrow, dealing with that. That's why I have bags under my eyes. It is nonstop. Got the birthday week. We got Fire and the Kid tomorrow. We got Jim Norton on the Fire and the Kid. Sweet. Powerful Jim Norton. I think he's on Rogan today. It's always weird when we book guests and you find out he's doing us or Rogan first. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, not that it's a different show. Rogan does his thing, we do our thing. But whenever there's when they book back-to-back guests, I'm like, oh, man, it'd be better if they spread it out. I don't like when they go Rogan, us, next pod. And I get doing a podcast run, but I don't know. It's always interesting because you're going to want a little break. Because if you listen to Jim Norton on Rogan, do you really want to listen the next day on Fire and the Kid? I mean, granted, we do a different dynamics. Brian and
totally
I do our thing, but
think, yeah.
How about fucking Brian? And we'll talk about it on the Fire and the Kid tomorrow. This dude calls me yesterday, goes, hey, man, you know how I was saying how my house is haunted? I'm like, yeah. He goes, well, that dude who does the Ghost Adventures, not my boy Zach Baggins, so I'm going to do that show for him, a different dude. He goes, remember we had him on the show? He's the ghost hunter. Well, I'm going to have him at the house tonight. And we've talked about shooting that and put on a YouTube channel months ago. Brian forgot that he booked it last night. I'm like, dude, Chin can't go. We don't have our camera crew. Agent A can't go. Like, you just can't. And Nike, like, I can't do it. He said, come on, you have to do it. I'm like, not happening, man. So I don't know if we'll talk about it tomorrow. I don't know if he shot it, whatever the fuck they found. It was a bad idea. I don't know what to expect. I can't wait to hear the bullshit. Brian keeps texting me all night long, and then finally just texted him back and went, oh, hey, this is Brendan's doctor. Sorry to inform you your friend Brendan has passed away due to low energy after you telling him at 9 o'clock at night you booked a shoot without telling him, and it was the day of. Sorry for your loss. He said, and I'll get back to you tomorrow with results. And Brian just goes, shit. And I haven't talked to him since. So I don't know how that thing's going to turn out.
Does he do that normally? Like something big?
Yeah, that's Brian. That's Brian. We're like, what? I didn't tell you? Yeah, man. I bought a house. I moved. I'm in fucking Seattle now. I'm like, since when? Dude, I'm calling you from Seattle. That's Brian Callen.
dear.
He's a curveball, man. He's Peter Pan. He's your best friend, but sometimes you want to strangle him. He's the best. Hopefully that ghost haunted the shit out of him. I can't wait to hear. And that, I'm sure he'll be real chatty Cathy about it tomorrow, firing the kid. Other than that, man, there's a lot going on in the fight world. There's a ton going on, to be honest. I'll tell you what's cool is, we're doing something right when I have some freaking big names reaching out, man, to come on the Big Round Breakdown. I won't share them because I hate when people say they're going to come on and then you hype the show and then they don't come on. But it's some names everyone knows, some fun ones. Today on the show, we had a last-minute cancellation, but nothing wrong with that because Rener Gracie and Brian Ortega, who is ranked in the top 10 in his weight class at 145 and is undefeated, is coming on the show today. So that's going to be a fun one. Again, I think part of the reason why I did this show, I talk about this, is because I don't believe the UFC is telling people stories very well. And they might tell Conor McGregor, Ronda Rousey's, or Brock Lesnar's story, but there's so many good stories out there that they don't tell. So I think one of the things that we owe to the audience and the fight fans and stuff like that is to tell these other stories. Brian's ranked in the top 10, has an amazing story. He's undefeated. He's been out for a while because of surgery, but you look at his wins, man. His last win, he knocked out Clay Guida with a knee. Before they beat Brando, before they beat Tavares. Like, he has some great wins. Triangle City, we call him Tri-City. He's a monster, man. Do you know his story? Nope. Whose fault is that? You tell me. I don't, I don't work for marketing for UFC, but so I think part of this is, we need to book big guests like Stone Cold, Lyoto Machida, Michael Bisping, Verdum, Cyborg, these huge names, which is all in the works. However, I think it's also important to tell these other stories of these phenomenal fighters. I think that needs to be one of the things we do here, man. I think it's important. Sounds good. I think that could be fun. I think it's going to be good. Those guys are coming later today. But for now, let's jump on into these MMA events.
Brandon, I've been wanting to talk to you about this for...
Oh, you scared me, man. It was a serious voice. I was like, shit, what's up, Doug?
All right, so I've been holding this for this show because I thought it was so... it's perfect for it because he was a guest on the show, and he was a great guest, too. So Robin Black... He went on his Facebook and his Twitter to say that he got let go by the Fight Network, which is freaking crazy.
Yeah, that is a bummer. He texted me when this was coming about. He let me know that he was let go because of budget cuts, and they let him go at the Fight Network. Then he wanted to talk, and we just haven't got around. I've been busy. I didn't call him back. I missed his call. He missed my call, so I haven't been in direct communication with him, but that's a bummer, man. 8 years and they're downsizing. I just feel like, I don't know what's going on with Fight Network and what exactly their plan is, but they obviously have a plan. But, man, fighting in Canada go hand in hand like freaking little boys and, Teddy Rupskin. Like, that's such an old school reference. My brain is weird. But if you're going to do budget cuts, you don't get rid of the guy who's kind of the face of the Fight Network, man. But he's a free agent. So Robin Black, what are we going to do, man? You're the Adrian Peterson of MMA analysts right now. You're not young, but you're a beast, just like Adrian Peterson. There's a lot of homes for you. It's about finding that fit. In this day and age, I told him this a lot of times. I'll watch his breakdowns to get a different view because I'll think of something of a huge matchup. I'll think of how I think it's going to go in my head, and I'll do some breakdowns and video analysis, stuff like that before we come in here and break down fights on the big cards. Mm-hmm. And then I'll go to him because he thinks completely different than me, and he also doesn't make fight picks. But he'll really break down into tendencies and footwork, and he'll dive into a lot of things that I didn't really look at or I overlook. So I usually turn to him for a lot of that stuff. And I'll watch breakdown tapes. I go, dude, why don't you do an all kind of Robin Black breakdown on iTunes? Why wouldn't you release that? Do you hate money? Like, he's brilliant at it. And I think through the contacts of myself, Rogan, UFC, and this, I just got another idea, but he could easily, start making income that way. It takes a while. You got to build an audience and build a fan base. I won't go into the logistics of it, but when you get to a certain amount of downloads, you can start making real money, man. You just got to grind. But he has a voice for it, and I think if he went full fight show, if you look at the fight content, especially on iTunes, SoundCloud, there's not a lot of quality content out there. There's just not. There really isn't. There's a few guys who do it well, and people listen to, but in general, it's a lot of trash. It really is. There are people who aren't qualified, who think they're analysts, think they're experts because they've watched UFC since UFC 1. I get that, but Robin Black is a legit analyst, one of the best in the game. If I'm the UFC, I get frustrated at this stuff. If I'm the UFC and I know we have Jim Norton coming on tomorrow, it's nothing against their podcast, but let's be real, that thing doesn't do very well. And you want a legit. You want to create a podcast network, Robin Black would be my first signing of that network.
Without a doubt.
I've been approached to do Fire and the Kid Network. So, Fire and the Kid, and there's umbrellas under it, and the Big Brown breakdowns under that, and then you have other talent under that. I would sign Robin Black.
That sounds good.
I would sign Robin Black and create a show and create the whole marketing scheme for him, do all that. That might be another, and I'm speaking out loud, probably shouldn't have said that out loud, but that's something I'd be interested in doing. I've had so many people ask me to help them with this whole kind of marketing and strategizing in the podcast world because podcasts getting so big. And I said, it'd have to be the right guy. I'm not going to waste time, and I also don't have time to invest my work time or my off time at shifting through all this bullshit of podcasts out there, So Ron Black would be that guy you can invest in, it's going to be a hit. So we could do that. And this is just one avenue. Now, he can still do podcasting and then work for whoever he wants, whether it's the UFC, Bellator, whoever it is. Again, Bellator is not a bad idea. Scott Coker. I got to call Robin because I have a million ideas for him. I think he would be great with Scott Coker. They're looking for content, original content. He's a guy who could really dive in, and he puts such an artistic spin on it. He's the hottest free agent as far as analysts in the game. And you look at UFC where they're doing these 3-man booths, and they signed a guy like Todd Grissom. And I like Todd. There's nothing wrong with Todd. He's very good at his job. But Robin's a unique guy. Robin's not the cookie cutter. Coming up next in this next UFC match, we don't need that. That's the entire world shuts down when you do that. We need to be entertained. We need a different spin. You want characters. You don't want cookie cutter. This world cannot stand cookie cutter shit, man. You need a unique spin on things, and that's what Robin is. And you're not going to find that anywhere else, man. Rogan's one of them. Robin Black's one of them. There's not a lot of guys who know the fight game like these two and can put a unique artistic spin on it.
Yeah.
So when he goes, my name is Robin Black. I analyze fights and do color commentary on the art of combat. For whom? ? I've got my phone in my hand. I'll let you know when it rings. To be continued. Well, I'm going to call him when we get out of here. I think the sky's the limit for this guy. I think this might be the best thing to happen to him, to be honest. I think that's one way you have to look at stuff like that. Like for us, when we decided to separate from Fox and, they got all butthurt and decided to end the contract early and thought they were screwing us over by getting us out a month before we were supposed to leave, it actually ended up working out great because it forced me to find a guy like you. It forced me to build this studio. It forced me to create the Big Brown Breakdown. It forced me to do all this stuff and revamp and marketing shirts. And so this is a blessing in disguise, man. You can look at it two ways. You can take your ball and go home and get a regular job, or Ron Black can use his talents and look at this like, all right, I'm a free agent, man. Let's do work here and get creative. And he's a creative dude.
Sounds perfect, man. I 100% agree with you on that. And because I do believe the whole, the best thing to happen, something bad, and then it just turns into something really cool. Man. It happens all the time in life.
Get knocked down, get the fuck back up, and come back bigger, faster, stronger. But with him, I think, I want to do a Big Brown Breakdown in Toronto. We're organized that now. I went, dude, you and I will do it in Toronto. So I'll do my whole thing, right, the comedy aspect of it, and then I will bring Robin Black up to break down that big fight. And me and him going back and forth. That's an avenue. If I'm Robin Black, again, there's so many different avenues he can do, man. I won't get too much into it. You guys get the idea. I love the guy. Cool. What else you got, man? Shout out to Robin Black. Send that guy some love if you're listening to this right now. Because it is, no matter what, I know I say get knocked down, get back up, bigger, faster, stronger. It still sucks. Don't get me wrong. It still sucks when you get knocked down. You scrape your knee, either way, it sucks. It does. So the love from fans, stuff like that will help. All right, the next one. Gotta work on the Facebook page. You only have 1,300 followers, sir. We gotta increase you. All right.
You can see that? I don't see that anymore.
Yeah, it says followed by 1,300 people.
Oh, okay. Hopefully this really is his Facebook page. I'm pretty. Oh, there it
Pretty
is.
sure it is.
Pretty sure it
Picture of his wife and him getting married, and then that personal fucking depressing. No, it's actually not depressing at all. If anything, I think he went about it the right way.
Cool, man. All right, the next one. I know you're getting tired of this, but I'm just gonna bring it up again. So, Flow Combat reported that T-Mobile Arena is actually holding a date for the Mayweather-McGregor fight.
Oh shit is getting real, son.
And you already heard about that whole Mayweather saying he's coming out of retirement. It's all
Yeah,
over
he
the place.
blasts out like the only reason I'm coming out of retirement is to fight Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
Sign the goddamn contract. So this shit is getting real. Shout out to Flow Combat. It's probably my most reliable source these days. It's probably who I go to most when I'm getting things. It's exciting, man. You know, and I know I bring it up on the Fight Companion. I don't think you can have an all-fight boxing commentary team. I don't. I think that takes away of the magnitude of this fight. And this fight is something special. It's going to be the clash of two worlds. And when I put out, looks like the biggest fight in our lifetime is going to happen, people are like, this is bullshit. This isn't the biggest fight of our lifetime. Name a bigger fight. Now, whether you like the matchup, you think it's a circus or what, that's fine. Name a fight that's going to beat this pay-per-view wise. That's what I mean by biggest numbers. Now, is it better than a Triple G Canelo fight? No. Fuck no. Is it better than Canelo versus Lemieux? No. What it is something completely different. We've seen what two gray elephants look like boxing. Now we get to see a gray elephant in a goddamn Irish eagle fight. I'm gonna watch it. It's weird as fuck. I'm definitely gonna watch it. But I think what they need to do, and I don't know if they've taken this in consideration, and this is where Dana White and the UFC would be a huge component here, and I think they are going to be involved. I don't know the details on that. I'm sure I'll have more info for you guys soon, but with TMT and Mayweather, who's phenomenal at promoting fights, and you know they have their team, well, there's one person who's better than TMT at promoting fights, and that'd be Dana White and the UFC. I'm not saying WME. I don't think they're good at promoting fights. As a matter of fact, I think they're terrible at it, if I'm being dead honest with you guys. We'll get more into that. But Dana White's not. And what Dana White would do is get off the couch and bust his balls to promote this fight, and would have some sort of voice to say, all right, so you're going to have Max Kellerman, or you're going to have whoever you want. We need a guy like Joe Rogan. We need someone who's knowledgeable on MMA to put a spin on things, exactly Conor's movement, the history of Conor McGregor, who he's beat before, where he comes from. Because a boxer, remember, those boxing analysts are so old school, and they're so freaking balls deep into boxing. They're going to be insanely biased, which as a representative of mixed martial arts, we don't want that. We need our voice heard. And now you can do two boxing analysts, which is fine, but we need someone from the MMA community involved in that. You have to have, that's so important. Otherwise, the biggest fight of our time is going to be made a mockery of these boxing heads. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine, dude, Joe Rogan and Kellerman or something like
Max
that.
Kellerman.
Together.
Oh my God. Lambert, you know, there's a lot of guys. And then of course you have Buffer announce it. Not you have Michael Buffer.
Yeah.
Not Bruce Buffer. You have Michael Buffer go, let's get ready to rumble. I feel like he's missed a step myself. You know, I feel like it used to be, let's get ready to rumble. And that like went on. I was like, oh shit, that's tight. You remember that boxing game? Ready to Rumble? And he would do it. It was such a sick boxing game. No.
Jeez, you have these memories of very specific old school stuff that
I know, man.
I have totally forgotten.
Anyways, it's called Ready to Rumble. It's the best boxing game of all time. Shits on any of those realistic EA games. But, yeah, I feel like Michael Buffer's kind of, he's over it. It used to be, let's get ready to rumble. And you'd be like, oh, this is sick. Now it's, let's get ready to rumble. Hey, man, they're paying you a lot of money. Let's fucking stretch this thing out. Get the crowd pumping. But you have him announce it, and again, we have to have a representative of mixed martial arts in that booth. Otherwise, the biggest fight of our lifetime is going to be so skewed for Mayweather, and it won't do Conor McGregor justice. Hopefully that's in Conor's contract in this thing. This bitch is happening, though. And I hate to be that guy to say, I told you so. I called this
actually
a
happened.
year and a half ago on Jay and Dan. And even the producer's like, is this even worth talking about? I'm like, if I'm Conor McGregor, that's all I care about. That's all I'm doing. The UFC can do whatever they want. I'm going to focus on this. I'm going to make this happen for many, many of reasons.
I think on Ariel Helwani's Twitter, it said something like Dana White mentioned that this fight is so far from being made, and then Ariel pointed out like, so he didn't say never happening. He said it's being far from being made. So even that's like a little weird little sign.
Dana always does that stuff,
like play of words.
Because what if this does end up happening? What it does is put the 155-pound division on complete ice.
Yeah.
With Khabib, falling out, having his issues, and they got Tony Ferguson doing his thing. So those other 55ers like, well, what the fuck do we do? So I think it's just kind of he's trying to balance right now. So cool. It's happening, I think. Why not?
I mean, I want it so badly too. All right, the next one is I follow Kane on Instagram, and he posted this yesterday afternoon, and it's pretty long, but in a nutshell, he's basically giving his fans an update on his body, how he went under surgery, and he's healing from that, and he's not saying that he's coming back anytime soon, so he wants people to know that he does want to be back eventually, but he's not going to give an actual date. He needs to recover. He needs to recover, and that's his number one priority right now.
See, I love this because, Kane, to me, goes down as top 3, if not top 2 heavyweights of all time. And remember, people are like, oh, come on, man, let's get going here. Remember, Kane owes you nothing. He owes the fans in the UFC nothing. He's given you everything. And for a guy to go, all right, I am considered one of the greats. I know I had my fight with Verdum, the rematch coming up to get the next title shot. I've had, how many surgeries has he had? What's going on with him? And not to mention concussions and the training they do and the hard training camps and all that. It builds up, man. Not to mention the wrestling career and all that at Arizona State. Like, his body's taking a real beat down. So I love when a guy, obviously financially, he can afford to do this as well. When he can go, I'm good right now, man. I gotta rest. I gotta take a little break. There's nothing wrong with this. Because if you want the best version of Kane, this is it. Now, ring rust might play a factor when he comes back and stuff like that, but at the same time, you got to do what's best for you and your family. And I hear he's spending time with his family and just taking things slow and getting away from the UFC game. There's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And the division's older too, so if there's a division to take a break from, it'd be this. He's gonna be fine. But I love it, man. I think everyone should support him in this decision as well.
Did you see that picture that they posted of him, Rockhold, and I think Daniel Cormier? They're all like posing like they're injured or something.
Recently,
like really recently.
Oh no!
And they were just saying, "Oh, we're just joking." And then this came like a day or so afterwards.
That's weird. I'll tell you what else is weird, and this is one thing to take into consideration. We'll obviously break it down when it comes up. But UFC, is it UFC 210?
Which one?
The DC Rumble?
Yeah, 210.
210 in Buffalo, New York, April 9th.
I don't know.
Something like that, early April. Either way, one thing to consider, and I will get more into it as it gets closer, one thing to consider is DC doesn't have Cain Velasquez for this fight to train with. That's a huge factor. Because remember, last time he didn't was John Jones, which he got kind of dealt with. So it's something to, it's April 8th in Buffalo. Yeah. That's something to consider. I'm leaning a little bit towards Rumble. A little bit more now. I was leaning with him a little bit, and now even a little bit more now. I think, DC has all these analyst duties, and he's doing pay-per-view, and then he goes, oh, but I'm shutting it down now. Again, there has to be some sort of repercussion when you have those media obligations. And we've seen how it works out for a ton of people, especially at that highest level. It catches up with you eventually. And then now you don't have your number one guy to train with. We'll see. I'll get more into it as we get closer. But yeah, shout out to Cain Velasquez. He's doing the right thing, man. His family, he's one of the greats. Do whatever the fuck he wants. He doesn't owe the UFC anything.
Yeah, plus with the whole, Dominic Cruz coming back really, really strong after that long layoff. And then it'd be interesting to see how GSP does once he's back, if he turns into some like he was back in his prime.
See, but this is this is what's scary about those other things. What Dominic Cruz did is more impressive than if Kane came back or GSP and all that, because at that division, those guys are evolving. They're so skilled. You have to be good at everything.
Oh, the lighter divisions.
Yeah, the lighter divisions. With Kane, I mean, fuck, man. You look at the top 10, you look at 11 through 15, it's a joke. Like, those guys could deliver egg rolls and we'd have no idea who they are. You know, it's just, I don't know, delicious. I'm hungry. But the top 10 is it's all dinosaurs. It's all woolly mammoths. There's just, so you can leave and come back. You know exactly what the guys can do, and nothing changes. The game at heavyweight really doesn't evolve like the other weight classes. With a guy like GSP, he's going to be in a little bit of a dilemma because his double leg and his wrestling that he shoots so far from outside 4 years ago is a different animal. Look how Barboza, look how he deals with double legs. So now you might be able to take a guy down, but you're going to pay for it now. Like a guy might say, okay, you want to shoot? Do it. You might get me down this time, but eventually this knee's going to land in the fight, i.e. Barboza. You know, there's a lot of different examples of that. So I just think for GSP, he's fighting more of a battle because at 85, and Bisping's an older guy, but he's gotten so much better from 4 years ago. Not even funny how much better he is. His boxing, his wrestling, his jiu-jitsu, he's a different fighter from 4 years ago. GSP's probably not. So he has an uphill battle to climb. And that's just with Michael Bisping, who is an older vet champion. You start getting to those younger guys, you're talking about, probably not for you, son. What else you got, brother?
Okay, next one is Vitor Belfort. He only has one fight left on his contract, so he said he would retire after that one fight, unless the UFC creates a Legends League, a Legends division.
Hey, man, there is no Legends League. You talk. Hold on. If the UFC wants to create a Legends League, and that Legends League, i.e. Pride back in the day, where it's the Wild Wild West and all these old dudes are juiced to the gills, I guess I'll watch it. That's also called Ryzen, So I don't see the UFC doing that because there's just I don't know. You can't have that. You can't take it serious. Can you imagine if the NBA or NFL had a Legends League and just freaking Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with his nuts down to his ankles fucking doing the sky hook and shit? I don't want to see that, man. I want to remember these guys as being pure greatness, Like, I don't see fucking Magic Johnson big ass trotting down the court, all out of breath and shit. I don't want to see that, man. I don't want to see fucking Dick Butkus middle linebacker right now with a new age fucking face mask and visor, or Lynn Swan catching the goddamn football running a 40 and a 6 flat. Like, I want to remember these guys for being great. Hey, Vitor, I realize you love fighting. There's a time to stop, and I'd probably say it's now. You just got, Kelvin just murked you. It wasn't even a fight, really, and your body's not responding the same. If you want to juice to the gills and go to Ryzen, by all means, I guess do that. But at some point, you got to stop, man. You got money in the bank. You got a beautiful family. You are a legend. You're on the Mount Rushmore. What more do you want to do, man? What left is there for you to do? And then he wants one more fight. He wants Anderson Silva, right? I think that's the rumor. He wants Anderson Silva in Brazil. I saw how that ended. Oh, I was there in person, and he fucking kicked you in the face. I don't want to see that.
I think he doesn't want to fight a Brazilian for some reason. He wants something other. I forgot who it was, but he doesn't want to fight a Brazilian in Brazil.
Well, it's not your choice. Well, it might be because he's a legend. I thought he wanted Anderson Silva. That's what I heard. But I don't want to see that. We know how that ends.
Yeah.
We know how that ends. I don't know who they could give him, man. I'd have to think about it. What about a guy like, and I know I said I'd like to see Johnny Hendricks, Rashad Evans. What about Rashad Evans? Both big names, both coming off a loss. Legends League, that's hilarious. I guess if they're all just juiced to the gills. I
kind of wish. I remember when Vitor was on the TRT. I was the first. Yeah, I was the first person out of my friends to say, "Dude, this has to stop, this TRT thing." And then after all these different fights, I kind of wish they made a league for that.
You be down for it? That Wild West league?
Well, if they said everyone that signs the dotted line can use, and everyone's using something, then if they all agree,
they should call it UFC Extreme.
Yeah.
And it's just, they're doing Guys are coked to the gills, fucking pupils like this, sweat, just, yeah. Can you imagine that league?
I'd rather have that league than the Legends League.
Yeah, I get that bullshit Legends League out of it. I'm not trying to see that, man. I don't want to see freaking, I'm not trying to see that at all. I barely want to watch Anderson Silva fight these days or Vitor, let alone each other in a Legends League. God damn it.
You know, when I think about it right now, I'm thinking you mentioned basketball and football and this.
You want to see Pete Sampras right now?
No, I'm thinking this is probably safer than football, right? If all the old players got together and started smacking each other.
I don't think so, because those old-ass players aren't going to move too fast in football. So it's just like slug on slug, And this, I mean, you punch each other in the face and you're juiced to the gills. So concussion after concussion. It's not happening. No one in the right mind would freaking approve this league. And no commission's going to get on board either. I guess if you want to take this Legends League to the Indian reservations, you could do it. Or again, you're talking about Ryzen. If the UFC wants to purchase Ryzen and call it UFC Extreme or UFC Legends, or UFC, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess he could just fulfill his contract and go to Ryzen.
Yeah, or let's just stop. How about that? How about we just stop?
He's set, right? He's pretty much set.
He should be. He's fucking Tom Cruise in Brazil. I hope he's set. Amazing person, amazing fighter, but it's again, it stops for everyone. Even whatever you want to talk about, it stops for everyone at some point. Your prime, like, you have to move on. You got to figure out something else to do with your career. Tom Cruise right now is battling. Okay, I can't make Mission Impossible 19. Maybe I'm not an action star anymore. So they have to figure out how to navigate those roles. Everyone deals with that, man. For him, you're not an action star anymore. Maybe let's go into dramatic shit, meaning stop. It has to end for someone. No one wants it to stop. Everyone wishes it was the Vitor, the phenom at 19. But those are the old days, man. It's time to give it up. I'm not trying to see fucking Ryan Sandberg bunt a ball right now and take 60 minutes to run to first base. There's a reason why it stops. You know what I'm saying?
An hour. Yeah, I didn't. Watching this fight was weird too.
Yeah, he looked, his hand speed looked fast, and he just got, a young, hungry lion just pieced him up with 1-2s.
Yeah.
Kelvin had great distance and those 1-2s landed, but, and Shogun, speaking of that night in Fortaleza.
Oh, yeah, Fortaleza, Brazil.
Yeah, Fortaleza. But Shogun looked great. Can Shogun beat the top, I think he's ranked 6, can he beat the top 5? No, he has 1 or 2 left in the gas tank. Stops for everyone, man. You tell me if Shogun fought like that against Anthony Rumble Johnson, it doesn't end in 30 seconds?
No.
Or Glover Teixeira, or Gustafsson, or John Jones, or DC? Like, those guys murk him. And it would ruin his legacy if he keeps it going.
And Jean Vellante looked, you'd be a better judge of this, but he looked like he was really slow and really tentative. But then when he landed, it would rock Shogun.
Yeah, and I think John Villante, is that how you say his name?
John Vellante.
Vellante. I think he has a chin. He looked great. His jab, he's encountered nonstop. 5 or 6 fucking overhand rights that kept landing. He just didn't pick up on it. It was hot in the arena, so I just think Shogun wanted it more and ended up finding a way to win. It was a great fight, and he was definitely the star of the show. The takeaway of that was, holy shit, Shogun. It was a fun fight to watch. They're both rocked, but that type of fighting won't get you to the top 5.
Yeah,
those top 5 guys aren't going to play that game. They're going to eat your ass alive, man. But it was a good win for him. But again, John Villante is in he's not an elite 205er.
Yeah.
But Shogun can beat up on those guys back and forth, What else you got, brother?
Okay, next one is Rafael Dos Anjos. He just made a comment that he wouldn't go back down lightweight to 155 because the money isn't worth the stress and the complications of making that weight cut. So he's saying the UFC doesn't pay enough for him to go down there again.
But they pay you enough to take brain damage?
I don't know.
How do you want to play this game? Because if you say the UFC doesn't pay you enough to keep coming to lightweight, well, let's just look at this. Let's scale this back a little bit. Do they pay enough to suffer brain trauma? Like, where do you want to stop? Because if you're saying, UFC don't pay me enough to fight at lightweight, and the weight's too tough, well, then do they pay you enough to get punched in the face? Do you want to continue doing this? Because when you hear comments like that, because if you want it bad enough, I'm sure if you talk to Tony Ferguson, if you talk to Conor McGregor, the Diaz brothers, any of these just killers, and you ask them, they're going to say, well, I don't give a fuck what they pay me. I make the weight, I whoop ass, and I'll get paid off beating their ass. So when you hear a guy goes, UFC doesn't pay me enough to keep cutting lightweight, okay. All right, man. Well, I know some guys who are bigger than you who figured out a way to do it.
It's just him saying his, loophole way of saying they just don't pay me enough, and he just has to find a way to say it.
And, at 70, does he say what's next for him?
He just says 170, but I'm not sure who he's fighting next.
Let's
see.
Because he's lost twice now. I don't know what's left for him.
Oh, Colby Covington called him out, but
that's not happening.
He's like, I had to Google your name.
Yeah, that's legit. Yeah, for Dos Anjos, I think it's his way of saying I don't want to fuck with 55 anymore because he lost Eddie Alvarez, right? He got murked by Eddie, and then he gets dismantled by Tony Ferguson. 55 is just too much of a shark's den right now. Mm-hmm. So, but then at 70, I guess there's some fun matchups there for him, but it's his way of just being frustrated with his career right now and the way things are going. But, if you're going to throw that comment out there, you scale it back. So it's too rough on your body to cut weight, but you're down to continue taking brain trauma.
Yeah.
And then you're jumping to 70 where, it's murderer's row as well. So he just has to figure out what he wants to do, man.
Fair enough.
That's all that leads to. What else you got, brother?
Okay. All right, this is Yoel Romero on MMA Hour. He's saying he wants to fight an interim title fight with Anderson Silva because he doesn't want to. I mean, the reasoning behind this is a little interesting. I guess he wants to take on Anderson because he feels as if whoever wins that Michael Bisping GSP fight might end up fighting Anderson anyway, so he wants to get him out. I think that's what I heard from this. I didn't really listen to it all the way through.
That's smart.
Is it?
Because I think if GSP wins, for sure Anderson Silva's the next title, 100%. If Michael Bisping wins, it's probably Yoel Romero. So Yoel needs to bank on Bisping winning. Because if GSP's the belt holder, they're not going to do Yoel Romero, this giant man versus GSP. I don't know if they sanction that fucking fight. He's just such a monster. So I like the idea of him going, I'm not even giving you guys the option. There's a slight chance GSP could win. I'm going to go ahead and take out this dude Anderson Silva. I don't see the UFC doing it because Anderson Silva, that's their next big payday. It's not, and it's just, again, I know there's rankings and I love rankings like you guys do. They simply don't matter because Yoel does deserve the title shot. And if GSP wins, it's not going to be Yoel. So he has to figure out what he wants to do. Because Anderson Silva's the big payday there. And that's all they care about. They have this nut they have to make up for, and it doesn't include Yoel. Yoel's getting completely fucked. I get it. But as a business entertainment identity, which they are now, Yoel's not in that equation, which sucks. So I get him wanting Anderson Silva. I don't see him doing it. And an interim title, god damn, how many interim belts are we going to give out? Do they even mean anything anymore? And it's UFC's marketing plan by saying, we realize we get more pay-per-view numbers, we get more TV ratings if there's a belt on the line. So that's why there's more belts. I don't know if you guys noticed that. Yeah. The reason why they're creating all these interim belts is because on paper it brings in more views. That's the only reason. So there might be an interim title, but I don't see it being. They're not going to kill two birds with one stone because if GSP what you could do is if GSP loses, you're still going to have him fight Anderson Silva no matter what. Because that's still a payday. And they both coming off. I don't know what they're going to do, man.
So he should just sit out then, right? I mean, that's probably.
Yoel probably should. It's going to suck, though, because they don't have a date for Bisping GSP. So sit and wait, which that's not fun. I don't know who else he would fight.
Or
everyone else is matched up.
Is he stirring the pot maybe by just throwing this out there?
No, I think he's trying to figure out something to do to stay relevant, to stay in the spotlight and get things going. If you want to get crazy, and we talked about some of the fighting campaign, I think it's a terrible idea for Kelvin, but Kelvin versus Yoel. Kelvin's the only guy without a matchup really in those top 6. Because Anderson's going to do what Anderson wants to do, Because I think Anderson wants to fight with Nick Diaz.
Yeah. I read that too.
Such a fucking gong show. It's just everyone wants this guy, no one wants this guy. It's just, but either way, the only person out of all this, just to wrap this up and move on, the only person getting screwed out of all this, all the names we just mentioned, would be Yoel Romero, and then Damian Maia at 70.
Dana White actually, well, I'm sure he's done it many times before, but he actually did put it on record saying Yoel Romero is for sure getting the title shot against Bisping. That one time, remember?
Yeah, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They said the Misha Tate, they said Johnny Hendricks, they said a lot of guys. That doesn't hold any weight.
Yeah.
Because we know how in history, you look back at history when Dana White says that it doesn't hold that much weight. And also, what if Yoel takes a fight? Granted, he murks Anderson Silva. Let's say they give him a barn burner. What happens if Luke Rockhold goes in there and murks, Jacare or something like that? Or not Jacare, if Luke Rockhold just murks his next guy. And then it's Yoel, Rockhold. That's not an easy fight for Yoel. So I don't know. You can't guarantee a guy a spot because we have no idea when Bisping and GSP are fighting. It just puts the division on hold. But again, all they care about is ratings.
Would they, when would you think that they would probably put it on? Sometime this summer or winter?
Maybe summer. Later than that, I would assume.
So
maybe they do the big July card, but I don't know. From what I'm hearing, that's not happening. I heard GSP needs more time. You've had 4 years, sir. What else you got?
All right, last one on people calling other people out and getting all mixed up. Tony Ferguson was also on the show, and he says that he would actually like to take on Nate Diaz. He wants to give Khabib the opportunity, but he's throwing out Nate Diaz as a good opponent for him too.
I like the fight. I'd love that. You imagine the shit talk in that fight and the just the tenacity of those two in a stare down. I don't know if that gets Nate Diaz out of the sack to come and fight Tony Ferguson. I think Nate Diaz, what he wants, and the bigger play is the rematch with Conor, the trilogy with Conor McGregor for the belt at 55. I think the only thing that really gets Diaz out of bed is the belt and a huge payday. That's probably not against Tony Ferguson. It's a good call out by Tony Ferguson. What else is he going to do if he's going to fight Khabib? That Khabib fight and Tony has to happen. We can't move on from that. It's the only fight we want to see. It really is. But Nate Diaz, he's especially at 55, he's not fighting for anything less than the belt against Conor, it's his huge goose egg. That's all he's waiting for. That's the number one fight for him. So I don't see this happening.
Would that be the fight that happens? Granted, the boxing match happens. Would it be the fight right after the boxing match?
Yep. And then Conor sails off into the sunset. Or for whatever reason, Conor Floyd fell apart, or it's not happening like next year. Conor would fight Nate Diaz at 55. That'd be the only fight he takes. Ooh. He would not fight Tony. He would not fight Khabib. He would only fight Nate Diaz. It doesn't matter. We know Khabib and Tony are worse matchups for him. We know they're ranked higher. None of that stuff. You're talking like you're talking like you know what you're talking about. But that's not the way the UFC works these days. It's what sells tickets. Nate Diaz, Conor, 3 for the belt would be huge.
Who would you have for Ferguson Diaz? I'm guessing you would pick Ferguson.
Probably Ferguson, but Diaz at 55 looks amazing, man. But probably Ferguson, just he's so active and he's just a killer, man. But for Nate Diaz, he takes so much time off. It's gonna be tough to jump in there and beat a guy like Tony Ferguson.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably Tony be the favorite in that fight. I assume Vegas odds, but obviously you can never count out Diaz with his boxing and his ground game. Mm-hmm. It's a really, really fun fight. I don't see it happening though. What else you got, brother?
All right, so the next one is actually a series of tweets that I wanted to ask you about. I don't know much about mental warfare and fighting. So Amanda Nunes tweeted out, I see you June 3rd, straight at Valentina Shevchenko. And then Valentina responded, UFC offered the fight in April. You declined, was told you would be back in July. My schedule planned till July, anywhere, anytime in July. And then Amanda tweeted back, a challenger doesn't pick the day. The challenger is supposed to fight. And then let me just see if Valentina responded to that one.
Powerful water sock on the ocean cake. The fuck is she wearing?
That's
Dude, are those aqua socks? I used to wear those to Waterworld in Denver. They're so sick. They still make those?
I guess.
Oh, hell yeah. Damn, she's doing a sidekick on the beach in Hawaii in some aqua socks like a gangster.
That's her only response to. Well,
Martial arts is in the air. Emoji sun, emoji fist, emoji palm tree, emoji sun. Hawaii, March 2017. Right. Where's the... She put hashtag UFC, hashtag fighter, hashtag bullet, hashtag sidekick, hashtag signature. How about hashtag water socks? What's wrong with you? How dare you post a picture in water socks? She's jacked, though, and ripped.
Yeah, she looks ripped. And she looks like she's on vacation ripped.
There's nothing that will make me less attractive girl than her posting a video of her in water socks. Like, even if you're watching porn and the girl has some Chuck Taylors on, I'm like, God damn it. Or their socks on. Why do you have Hanes socks on? Why are you wearing Hanes? There's nothing sexy about that. Why the fuck is she in those ninja water socks? Oh, good for her though, man. Hawaii killing the game. Yeah, I actually like Shevchenko in the rematch for a 5-round fight. I think she gets it done. And she said June, so it's probably gonna happen in June.
No, so whatchamacallit? Amanda is wanting June.
It'll happen in June.
So it'll happen in June?
Yeah. It's not happening. Sure as fuck not happening in March.
No, July. She was asking for July.
Oh, shit.
So Valentina said that, the UFC or someone told her that Amanda's not going to be ready until July. And then finally, Amanda came out of nowhere tweeting to her, say, let's do June. Kind of a weird, just a month before. And she's like, no, weird. You said, yeah.
It's like a power move. I'll tell you what's going to happen. The UFC's going to say, hey, listen up, YouTube. It's going to be in July. You keep wheel kicking in your aqua socks. Amanda, you keep tweeting, and we'll figure it out. But see you bitches in July. That's how it's going to go down. I would assume it's in July. They'll stack them, because that's not a huge draw card or fight, but I'm sure they'll stack them on that July 4th card. There'll be there'll be like the co-main event, which is silly, or third down on some stack card.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But I think that's Shevchenko's fight, to be honest with you. In 5 rounds. If it was 3, I'd give it to Pena, Amanda Nunes. Yeah. What else you got, brother?
All right, let's see what this is. Okay, Mackenzie Dern. This is her second time. She fights for Legacy Fighting, and it's the second time that she lost or didn't make weight. And she won the fight.
How heavy is she coming in?
She's supposed to be 115, and she couldn't make it, so they made it 120. And she missed that, and then she had to weigh in later and finally made it.
God damn.
Yeah, and she's like a huge prospect too, right?
Hell yeah. Like at 115-pound division, especially in women's, she's I'd say the number 1 prospect, to be honest.
Yeah. And
but the UFC won't take chances on you, man. You miss weight twice. If you're not reliable and they can't bank on you to make weight, it's literally Dana and at the time Lorenzo's pet peeve. If you can't make weight, you can't fight. So, and it's never been more relevant than now, where it's such a big issue with Khabib and these other guys not making weight. You can't put investment dollars in you can't put marketing dollars, can't give you publicity because there's a chance you might not fight. So that sucks, man. She's killing her chances. She's fucking killing herself. And if you can't make weight at this level, 115 is not for you.
Yeah.
At this level, because you're in the UFC, you're playing with the big dogs. So maybe 115 is just not for her. She looks great though. She's always first team all cutie pie, but you got to make weight.
Yeah, and her opponent got Really pissed off.
She said making a catch weight later on your second attempt is missing weight. Don't deny it. Fight was supposed to be 115, not 120. Not my fault. Other people lack discipline. True. Also, don't come out saying you started heavy. I started at 153 pounds back in January when the fight was signed. Can't be a 150-pound champ when you don't make 115 pounds ever. All legit points by Catherine Roy. Yeah, she's right. And it's for Mackenzie, hey man, that it's literally just a discipline thing. So those are some red flags for me. You know, if I am the UFC looking to sign a big name in the women's division, probably not sign her even if she won by flying armbar, something cool here, because you can't depend on her. She would have to make weight. I'd say probably 3 more fights in a row before I'd sign her. It's such a liability, man. That's just a discipline issue too.
It's weird too, right? So she's really highly touted in, I guess, jiu-jitsu before she came in. And then also Khabib is obviously a really hard worker, really, you know.
Yeah.
But when they miss weight, it should kind of tell you something about their personality and their discipline and everything. But they're still at that level where they're awesome and they still miss weight. There's this weird thing that happens there, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. For some guys, like, you know, with Anthony Johnson, remember him? He's constantly missing weight. Or for Kelvin, he's missed weight.
Yeah,
that means they're doing what they like to do. That means they don't have a very good team around them usually. If you know, if they're the technique's right and they look, you know, they look like they're ready to fight, but they're missing weight, that usually means they're the alpha male in their camp and they're doing what they want to do. They're calling the shots, which is a terrible way to run a camp. Because if you have someone holding you accountable, you're not just going to go and hit mitts this day because you feel like hitting mitts, or you're not going to skip jiu-jitsu because that's not your thing, or you're not going to spar today because you had a rough night last night and there's these killers in the gym. That's not your decision. That's not the way professional sports work, especially it shouldn't work in MMA. But, you know, as the sport evolves and gets taken more serious, guys are going to have these head coaches who hold them accountable. So when I see that with guys like Kelvin, Anthony Rumble Johnson, and now with Mackenzie, it's a character flaw. It really is. The one thing you can control is your weight. You can't control your opponent. You can't control really how you feel. You know, if you're getting sick or anything like that, you can't control your weight. It's a character flaw.
Seems to happen with the really like naturally talented people too, right?
Yeah.
Like John Jones with his outside the weight cut
but
stuff.
Has John Jones ever missed weight inside?
That's what I'm saying. Like it's the character flaw that he has is all the other stuff.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
So they're all like naturally talented, it seems.
Yeah. And then for whatever reason that just goes by the wayside. That's a bummer for Mackenzie Dern though. It's literally going to taint your fighting career. You're screwed when you can't be dependable. And no one likes that. Like it's a turnoff for all the fans. They're like, fuck, she's not taking it serious. Why would I turn in? Yeah. Why would I tune into this bullshit? You don't take it serious. I'm sure as fuck not taking time out of my Friday or Saturday night to watch you if you're not even taking yourself serious. You're not getting off on the right foot, man. What else you got, brother?
Okay. All right, I want your opinion on this because I have a pretty strong opinion on it.
What is it?
This is a fight at ACB, Absolute Berkut, the one that Frank Mir he commentates for.
That's the Russian league, right?
Yeah.
I heard they're doing good things.
They're signing all these like ex-UFC guys. Someone messaged me about this too, that they're signing a ton of UFC guys. Yeah. So they're kind of building this huge roster. Yeah. So this one was Robert Whiteford against Nam Phan. And I'll just play you like the few seconds of this. He had him in a guillotine choke and he won by guillotine choke. And then Nam Phan actually ended up retiring after this. But I'll show you the clip real quick.
Oh, he's out. Oh my God. He slammed him in the face.
Yeah. Is that heat of the moment or is that just a dick move?
Bit of a dick move. Like, he's out.
Yeah.
He could have laid him down softly. It's kind of on the ref, though, too. Like, where's the ref? Like, in that situation, why is the ref 7 feet away? Why wouldn't you be closer controlling the situation? Because, again, it's just the ref not having knowledge of mixed martial arts. When a guy's caught like that and you see him hand fighting and then you see him go limp, the fuck you think's going on? We don't need you, 20 yards away then sprinting in for this exact reason.
He was hanging on the fence with he was like lifted and barely on the fence.
Yeah,
too.
That's rough. Yeah, that was a bit of a dick move by Robert Whiteford, but it's fighting. Yeah, if the similar one to this is John Jones against Leo Machida. But he put him backwards. He could have spiked him like this, kind of a snap down. But, John Jones is professional and put him back. I think it was Robert Whiteford. I'll give him benefit of the doubt. You're emotional. You're winning the fight. You get that. And he's just thinking, I'm out of here. And just let this weightless body go head first into the mat. Which is just a bad look. You're not going to win any fans doing that. Yeah. It's on the ref, though. It really is. It's on the ref. What else you got, brother?
All right, let's skim through these. Oh, yeah. So Frankie Edgar, he was on Anik and Florian's podcast. And he announced that he's going to be fighting Yair Rodriguez next. And what do you think of that? So Yair is obviously one of the biggest prospects, right? And they're taking on someone who's amazing. So who would they want to win on this?
Well, first of all, the big thing here too is Frank Yeager's trying to renegotiate with the UFC, and they're not paying him enough. So this is his last fight in his contract. Was it dangerous for the UFC to let a guy like Frankie test free agency? Because I'm assuming Bellator would throw the books at him. But with Yair, I just don't like the fight. Frankie's ranked number 2. He still looks great. He's very dangerous. The one knock on Yair is probably his wrestling. In cardio, we've seen him get tired here and there. He's a fun fighter. He uses distance, and he has these fun kicks and, rolling to knee bar and stuff like that. It doesn't make sense for me. It really doesn't. At this weight class, too, it's kind of stacked at the top. There's a bit of a traffic jam. So let's say in this weird world of martial arts, Yair were to win, he beats the number 2 guy. You're telling me he's ready for the top 3? And you're like, well, he beat the number 2 guy. I know, it's just he's so young. What's the rush? I guess they're looking for a Mexican star. You got in Kelvin a little bit, and maybe that's what they're trying to do with Yair. Like, hopefully, if he beats this guy, we can mark him as the next big thing at 45. I just think it's too much too soon. This comes from the same guy who said that about Cody Garbrandt against Dominic Cruz, but obviously paid off.
Yeah.
But I also didn't realize the level of skill Cody had at this exact point in time. Because I thought he does have the skill to be champ. I just thought, not yet. Give another year. Let him murk some more guys with his knockout power, and then let's see how he does. But that was obviously the right decision because he was, leaps and bounds better than Dominic Cruz in that fight. And now he's fighting TJ Dillashaw. He's obviously ready for all comers. I can't say that about Yair Rodriguez. We're going based off his performance against BJ Penn. And I love BJ, but he was a walking, heavy bag in that fight. So Yair was just doing his thing. And your reward after that, fighting a guy like Frankie Edgar, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And also, what's it do for Frankie after he wins? What the fuck does it do for Frankie? Okay, so he beat the number 9 guy in the world.
So, yeah.
It doesn't make a lot of sense. And maybe it's a power move by the UFC saying, hey, sign this. All right, we're going to give you a guy. It really doesn't help you. But if Yair were to win, it really boosts his ratings.
It's funny. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
In this podcast, I think Frankie Edgar said he thinks it's a win-win for Yair. Because if he doesn't win against, Frankie, then he's not supposed to win against Frankie.
No.
But if he does, it just boosts him.
Big time.
Then what you said about he has to now face number 1 and 2. It's a weird little.
It's not thinking of the grand scheme, the big picture of the UFC too. It's very short-sighted, which is another reason I think all they're trying to do is build, and then sell. They bought this land. They have this house. They're knocking down. They're rebuilding it. They're forgetting the foundation. They're going to rebuild their own thing. It's going to look good kind of in ratings, but really the structure's shit, and this house is going to collapse. But I'm just building this house so I can sell it and get our money back. Make some money.
They're flipping the UFC.
They're flipping it. That's what's going on. That's what I think's going on. So, yeah, because with Yair, you're fucking crazy think he's ready for a guy like Jose Aldo or Max Holloway or any of those guys. Chad Mendez, these are terrible matchups for him. So we'll see what happens. But for them not to sign Frankie and let him test free agency, all right. Keep letting these legends go, and the Bellator's signing him. It's just trouble. Is that it, brother?
I got a few more, but I'm not sure which ones you want to look at. Let's see. Oh, this one I wanted to ask you about. Did you see this fight?
Yes.
So he actually put his gloves in the octagon like he was retiring.
Mm-hmm.
And then he left the octagon, and then he changed his mind. He asked people to grab his gloves. Yeah. So he asked people to grab his gloves, and then people are asking, are you retiring? He goes, well, I'm definitely done with the UFC, but, I want to have one more fight, where I live. I think he just knew that the UFC will cut him, and he wanted to retire for some reason. It would just hit him. Or was he just so, jumbled from the fight he wasn't thinking straight?
I think at Josh Berkman's level, he's such a vet. He lost his fight. Was he going to be world champion? No. I think for him, a guy like that, you only have one or two left. Remember when Randy Couture left his gloves in there? You see these guys with Tio Ortiz. I think before they know whether they're done or not. I think when a guy acts emotional, it's the worst thing to do because you're really not in the right frame of mind. You got rocked and you got choked out. I think it was a north-south choke. You get choked out, so you're a little bit discombobulated, and that's not the best time to make the choice. He left his gloves in there. His team, again, this falls on his team. His team should be like, no, let's talk about this in the back. Let's figure this out. Did the UFC cut him?
I don't think they officially cut him yet, but this is his, I think, fourth or fifth loss.
Yeah,
I forgot what it was.
They usually wait a little bit. It takes a little bit to process. You're kind of like Milton on Office Space. You get cut, and then it takes some time to realize you don't have a job. Crazy, man.
Crazy.
Should we do a pee break?
Sure.
Let's do it. Energy levels low. No, I'm just kidding. It has been a long day, though. What do you got going on, man? We got to do the breakdown for UFC London, huh?
Yeah, but this just in.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
What do you got?
I guess it's officially on the UFC website that Kelvin Gastelum will be facing Anderson Silva in Brazil.
Oh, wow.
UFC 212.
That's interesting. So Kelvin's on this Masters tour. Legends old man ass whoopings because, don't get me wrong, he looks amazing. At 85, he's a monster. I think the top 3 or 4 insanely tough matchups for him. But, so he beat a Tim Kennedy who had one door out, and then he beat Vitor Belfort, who's, he's been fighting for 20 years, and then he calls out dad bod Anderson Silva, and they grant him that wish. So I guess the way to keep him active and if there's one way to get a fighter famous, this would be the way, fighting a guy like, beating Tim Kennedy, beating an older Vitor, beating Anderson Silva. You have these legends on your resume. He's also, we should just nickname him the janitor because he's cleaning up the division for the UFC as far as Vitor Belfort, huge contract, murked by the Young Lion. Tim Kennedy was paid pretty well, murked by the Young Lion. Anderson Silva doesn't have that many fights left, gets paid a shitload, murked by the Young Lion. So he's doing their dirty work for him, and it's making him famous. Listen, in this sport, you want to fight the most famous, biggest name possible, who's the best matchup for you, the easiest matchup, and that's what Kelvin's getting. So good for him, man. It's smart, it's well calculated, and they're giving it to him. So poor Yoel Romero, we're good, man. We're good.
Yeah, we just
every fight you want, we can give it to Kelvin. So sucks for Yoel, but good for Kelvin.
You already have him automatically.
That fight does nothing for me. That's I'm not interested in that. That fight goes down just like Vitor and Kelvin. We already know how that fight goes down. That's not a fun fight. And for Anderson, I guess that at least one of your last fights will be in Brazil if that's what you wanted. But he's gonna get punched right in the face. It's not gonna like when he fought his last fight against Brunson, who had all that respect. Kelvin, the way he shows his respect is by punch you with a 1-2 in the face, and that's what he's going to do to Anderson Silva. This isn't a mystery. This isn't some breakdown news on how he's going to beat Anderson Silva. He's going to punch him square in the face with his left hand. Probably ends in the first round. So hopefully they stack that card for more people to buy it.
When you beat Crow Cop, that was the most legendary guy you beat, right?
By far, yeah.
By far?
Yeah.
Was that the most response you got from sponsors or fans or anyone else?
Yeah, because I went on similar to Kelvin. I went Gonzaga, Crow Cop to Big Nog. So sponsors with Crow Cop are huge. Sponsors with Big Nog were huge. Because you have those two legends.
Gotcha.
But for him, it's a different. He's going to get more fame from it. Obviously, sponsor doesn't matter because it's Reebok. But I mean, you beat legends, man. It's a huge feather in your cap. For Kelvin, it couldn't be any better. I mean, it's great on his part. For these other guys, not so much.
So he has to probably stay at 185, right?
Oh, yeah. He said the only way he's going back to 170 is for a title shot or title contender shot.
Cool.
So, I mean, he's staying at 85 because now he's really making his mark there.
Yeah, he's doing awesome.
Should we just break down this London fight?
Let's do it.
It's not great. So just out of sheer respect, Joseph Duffy's the main event on Fight Pass. He's always fun to watch. He's the last guy to beat Conor McGregor. Other than that, that Fight Pass card is no bueno. But and then just out of sheer respect, you got to give respect to Brad Pickett, one of the only guys to beat Demetrius Johnson. His last fight was against Uriah Faber, which he lost, but this is he's retiring after this fight. He said this is his last fight, so got to give it up to Brad Pickett. He's fighting a guy who's taking the fight on short notice. Brad Pickett, probably one of the hardest punchers of all time at that featherweight bout. So I just, I just feel like Pickett gets it done, man. It's his last hurrah. It's in his, his backyard. I'm definitely not picking against Pickett in that fight, and he's also one of my favorite fighters, especially for those lighter weight classes. Shout out to Brad Pickett. Then you got Gunnar Nelson versus Alan Jouban. Jouban's, Big Brown alumni here, Breakdown alumni. He's on a 3-win fight streak. His last fight against Mike Perry, who's just an absolute killer on the feet, but very predictable, very plodding fighter. He kind of dismantled him and fought a smart fight. His fight with Gunnar Nelson, and this is the fight that he wanted, Gunnar's ranked higher. If Gunnar wins by submission, granted he had his fight with Brandon Thatch, who he clipped with a left hook and then got his back and choked him out. He got absolutely annihilated by Damian Maia, but that's one guy who's great at something and one guy who's really good at something. So Gunnar Nelson's really, really good at jiu-jitsu. Damian Maia's great at jiu-jitsu. So that when they went to the ground, greatness won there. He got ate up by Damian Maia. It's not that Gunnar Nelson's not one of the best in the division. That matchup isn't for him. He can beat a lot of other guys, just not Damian Maia. Matchup-wise, it's a nightmare for him. And he lost to Rick Story in split decision, ate up by Damian Maia, and then he beat Tumanov, who's an absolute fucking nightmare, and he beat him submission. This is a ridiculously tough fight for Alan Jouban.
It is, right?
Ridiculously tough fight. I think Jouban has better stand-up, better footwork. He has good takedown defense. I think when this fight does go to the ground, he's in a world of trouble. So I always say don't bet on a lot of times for my picks because, if Alan wasn't a friend, Alan was an alumni of this show, I would if I had a gun to my head, I'd probably pick Gunnar Nelson. But I like Alan Jouban because of his footwork. I think he gets it done via TKO in the third round. I think it's a sloppy fight. I think it's a war. I think it's back and forth. As long as Alan Jouban, when it does go to the ground, can get back to his feet and protect that neck. But, outside of Damian Maia, Gunnar Nelson is an absolute nightmare on the ground. We haven't seen a lot from Alan Jouban on the ground. But stand-up wise, Alan Jouban is, light years better in MMA, mixed martial arts, than Gunnar Nelson. So I'll go with Jouban. Who you got, Chin?
Dude, you know how you're saying, well, you're friends with these guys, and you're biased because of it?
Yeah.
I'm not even friends with Alan Jouban, but
He's on the
I
show.
got to meet him,
Yeah.
talk to him. He's such a cool dude. I can't believe it's actually influencing, how I feel about it.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm only scraping the surface of it. But when I saw this fight, I was immediately like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, me too. I
was like, "Oh shit!"
It's a dangerous fight. Because you look Gunnar Nelson's losses, split decision to Rick Story, which some people think Gunnar won that fight, and then Damian Maia. That's just a bad matchup. Stylistically, it's the worst matchup for him possible in the division. He lost that fight. His decision got ate the fuck up. But Damian Maia's, I think is probably the best 170er in the world, not named Woodley. So, and even that's a really, really tough fight for Woodley. So, you can't really knock him for that. And then he goes in and just absolutely dismantles Tumanov.
You said you have, with your head, you're picking Gunner?
If I had a gun to my head and I had to bet, someone's like, hey, your entire bank account, I'd probably take Gunner Nelson.
Damn, dude.
But I'm completely rooting for Alan Jouban.
I'm just going to go for Alan.
Me too. Let's go to the main event.
All right.
That's a better fight than the main event.
Yeah.
Yeah, main event, you got Corey Anderson versus Jimmy Manawa. Manawa, English fighter, for those of you that don't know. So he's fighting in his backyard. He's coming off by far the biggest win of his career at the time, Owen St. Preux, OSP. Remember, he's the guy who knocked out Shogun. He was the guy who went to decision with John Jones, even though it was, a weird John Jones. But still, nonetheless, Manawa is an explosive dude. He can knock out anyone in the division. That's kind of his forte. But when he fights the upper echelon, he gets dismantled, i.e. Gustafsson, i.e. Anthony Johnson. So this one's a little tough to pick just because the matchup. Corey Anderson is a grinder. He has the grappling. He's coming off a pretty decent-sized win off Sean O'Connell. He lost that split decision to Shogun in Brazil, which is kind of bullshit. Anywhere not Brazil, he probably wins that. And before, he wins by decision. He's not the most exciting fighter. I think, he's a former Ultimate Fighter winner. I just don't know if he can avoid that knockout shot from Jimmy Manawa for 3 rounds. Oh, sorry, for 25 minutes. Can Jimmy? There's huge. I don't know what the odds are. I'm sure it's pretty close. I assume Manawa's the favor just because he can end the fight with one punch. Mm. But, Corey Anderson's not going to finish Jimmy. If he does, it's from exhaustion, from just grappling his ass, and it's a boring fight until the 4th round. And he finishes him off there with ground and pound. I'll take this is a close one. This is literally a toss-up. If I take one, you should take the other. Like I said, Jimmy Manawa beats everyone outside of the top 6, even though he has the win over OSP. I'll take Jimmy Manawa by TKO.
I would like to take the other, but I take Jimmy Manawa too.
Do you?
Yeah. Yeah,
this card's not going to blow your hair back. But, it's London. It's freaking there's some quality fights on there, but, I'm not going to – it's my birthday on Saturday, so I'm not going to stop doing anything on my birthday to watch this fight. If it's a bigger fight card, I would. That's what I love the UFC so much. That's what I do. But this card is, it's not a barn burner. Still good fights. Brad Pickett's last fight. You owe it to him to at least watch it. So that's it, man.
Happy early birthday, dude.
Thanks, bro. Even though I'll see you tomorrow.
Oh yeah, I'll say it again tomorrow. It'll still be early birthday.
Thanks, man.
Are you still here?
Yeah. We done?
I think that's it, dude.
All right, man. Well, let's get on into it. My brother from another mother, Rener Gracie, who's Big Brown Breakdown alumni. Last time he was here with Lyoto Machida. This time, he's bringing one of my favorite people and one of the hottest prospects in the game at 145. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. You can even clap your feet if you want to. Rener Gracie and Brian Ortega. We ready, Chin?
Go for it.
All right, man. We got 2 of my favorite people on planet Earth right now. 2 guys that you'll see around the Gracie Academy in Torrance, the legendary Gracie Academy in Torrance. I would say one of your best students, Rener. Is that fair to say?
Yeah,
we got Rener Gracie.
What's up, you guys?
What's up, you guys? Who's back for the Big Brown Breakdown?
Right there as well?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
we
cool.
do camera,
so
too.
we can have connection as well as connection.
Yeah, the fans like to see what's going on here. And then we got one of the best 145ers in the world, Brian Ortega. So I think one of the reasons I talked a little bit before you guys came on, Brian's such a beast. And me and Rogan were talking about how special of a fighter you are. And what's crazy to me is I remember, I'll just give the audience a little intro on how I met you and how this all came about. But I remember I was cornering you with Rener and Hiron for your fight. Where was that at?
Respect in the Cage.
Respect in the Cage.
I remember that little conversation we had.
We had a conversation before you went out there. And then I remember you going out there and you did work. And then I remember someone mentioned about the UFC, and I was like, because I want to protect him. I'm like, God, I just don't know yet. I think I was telling you, I go, I'd like to see his stand-up get a little bit better before they throw him to the wolves at the UFC. Next thing I know, you sign with the UFC, and I just see this progression, man. Because inside in the gym, you're obviously a nightmare to roll with. I mean, it's exhausting rolling because you're so dangerous off your back, which a lot of guys aren't these days. Right. In the UFC, like, you go to the ground with Brian, like, you're going to have to worry about a million different things than with other guys. There's very few guys where you go to the ground. If he's on top control, the crowd or the judges might say, oh, he's winning. I see that, oh, shit, Brian's about to end this at any second. Like, no guys want to be down there with him. So I think what's interesting in here is every fight you're getting better, but undefeated. But they're not doing you any favors. You're getting freaking, you're getting these monsters, man. If you go through the list, like every fight, I'm like, why are they giving them this monster? You beat him. Then you get Clay Guida. Knock him out.
Diego,
Brando. Then Tavares. Just these monsters.
And Tavares was a 2-week notice too.
And that was
we're teaching a seminar.
We were teaching cops. We were like in Maryland.
Bro, that was a funny
and Brian
one right
gets a phone call while we're there. He's like, "Hey, you want to fight in 2 weeks?" Thiago Tavares. We Googled him.
You didn't know who he was?
I barely even watch the UFC now.
Yeah, he's
I don't really understand too much. You know what I'm saying? So
he's just talented. Listen, so we get the call. We're in Maryland over there, and literally it was like, all right, Thiago Tavares in 2 weeks, and then they remember it was like, we don't know this guy's.
Well,
really...
because it was that or I forgot someone else in 2 months. It was going to be in 2 months in Brazil, and I was like, "No, let's do U.S.
Let's fight U.S. and let's fight right now." But Thiago's a much heavier load to handle.
Yeah. Black belt, well.
Another black belt, which always interesting.
He's like a third-degree black belt,
legit black belt,
veteran too.
Yeah,
like UFC vet.
But then what was our conclusion over there? It was like and there were some people on the camp. Naturally, the management and the camps and the coaches, and everyone has their opinion about whether we take it or not. But we were together over there in Maryland, sharing a hotel room and just teaching cops every day. That was a 1-week law enforcement course that we did. And it was just like, man, if we're not in...
Do you remember that? We're in the parking lot in the hotel training, doing sprints.
It
was literally...
0 to 100.
Yeah, 0 to 100. I was like, yo, are you down? He goes, yeah, I'm down. And I go, what about my weight? He goes, you're already eating healthier right now because he's making me eat the Gracie diet.
Yeah, because you're with Henner. If you're on the road with Henner, there's no... Forget about in and out and all that.
Juice and egg whites
every day.
Damn, I hate
Energy sandwich and vegetable juice every day.
I love it.
Yeah. No, but we literally started camp right there. We go in there, we teach the cops.
Then we roll with all those cops.
And then I'll roll with all the
some black belts in there. Who were solid.
He would just put cop round robin, cop after cop after cop after cop. And then I'll go in the weight room in there because the cop had the little weight room. And then after we'll go eat. And then after we'll go in the parking lot, do sprints and run and just
literally
camp started in Maryland.
Right there in Maryland.
And the thought was with Thiago, it was a heavy offering, but we were just like, man, if we're not in. I remember at one point the conclusion was, if we're not in this to fight the best guys.
What are we doing?
What are we doing here? And you were not. It's not like you were injured at that time. You weren't unhealthy. You were sharp as
he's always
sharp.
But that's the thing with you. You're always in the gym training. You're constantly
that's what it was. I'm like, yo,
every day.
So it's not like
2 times a day after training.
Like a lot of dudes. They get done with camp. You don't hear from them until they get another fight.
Right.
They blow up. You're like, what happened? But with you, you're always in there. That's a huge advantage.
Stay ready.
Yeah, huge advantage because a lot of guys take all that time off. They get a short notice fight where literally it could change or make or break their career. They can't do it because they're no longer working on sprint stuff like that. They're just trying to cut weight because they're so big.
Right.
So that's a professional approach. And so Brian's he's one of your black belts. You guys, he goes on the road with you. He helps.
Yeah. So Brian, in addition to being this undefeated fighter that he is, a lot of people don't know this, but he is an instructor at the Gracie Academy. Domestically, he teaches seminars. He's one of the few people that we trust to teach law enforcement courses nationwide. And whenever he's available, right, if there's not a set camp date and he's not injured and he's healthy, he's out there, doing that because I always tell him, I said, listen, fighting is great while you're young, while your body's there, and while you want to do it. But sharing these skills with other people is something you can always do for the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. And he's one of the best teachers we have in terms of connection, clarity, effectiveness. The students absolutely love him in the academy and out. He's just a very likable person. So I said, Brian, no matter what you do, you're going to be successful. So enjoy the fighting while you can, but always continue to sharpen that teaching sword because there's no limit to the potential.
But they're both building each other because while Brian builds his name in the UFC, and then he's going around doing these seminars, they're both building each other. The more fights that he wins, how many cops root for Brian?
They love
How many
yeah.
jiu-jitsu students root for Brian? And this is one of the frustrating things to me. Well, I'm sure people are listening going, hold on. This guy who's ranked in the top 10 at 145. He teaches cops hand-to-hand combat. Yeah. And then he also does seminars outside of camp. And then he also teaches class at the Gracie Academy. Like, these are the stories that are so interesting that it just makes the UFC so much more special. Can you imagine if someone ranked in the top 10 in any other sport was doing this stuff?
That's true.
It'd be all over ESPN. Every day it'd be in our face.
Oh,
true.
Yeah.
So, but how did, so like, this is what I want to get down to is how did it all start for you? Because usually to be a fighter, someone's bullied or something like that. For me, I was just a good athlete, had no other choices, so I went and did it. But where does it start for Brian?
Man, I was... First, my parents came from Mexico. Both of my parents came from Mexico. And then the first place we found was the projects in San Pedro. So, in the projects, all we had was Mexicans and blacks, really. You know what I'm saying? Section 8. And then I was always getting bullied. Even as a 4-year-old, like we're playing with the tennis ball or something. Some kids come take it. You come home, your dad's like, go get it back. So you have to go get it back. And if you don't come back, you get that ass whooped. So that's how it was. And then eventually, like, even I have videos and everything. I was in a train in Mexico with my dad, and I'm trying to start a fight with a kid. So I already had some little thing to me, and my dad put me in kickboxing. He goes, man, this kid's gonna have problems growing up. I hope he knows how to fight. So he put me in kickboxing from 4 to 13.
Dang.
I trained in there I became the champ. You know what I'm saying? By the time I was 12, 13 years old, I became the champion in the national champion kickboxing. And then I lost my title, and then I quit because it was like, man, I'm tired of doing this. I'm tired of trying to make you proud, Dad. Like, you know what I'm saying? I just want to be a normal kid. Like, everyone's out there playing, doing things. I got to leave because I have to go train. Tried baseball. I hate team sports after that.
Yeah.
Because everyone after that is in baseball, you're hustling, but there's 4 guys that don't hustle and make the whole team lose. So everything you're doing, you're going 100%. And their lack of, you know what I'm saying, like, the lack of effort, then you're losing things.
Sure.
Tried it 2 seasons, didn't like it. 2 seasons, lost every single game. Both teams,
Oh, you guys are terrible.
Yeah, we sucked.
Yeah, that's not
we
gonna
sucked.
fun.
Yeah.
Well,
We had like a good pitcher.
Going from fighting to a shitty baseball team.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
And then, there's a guy across the street from my house. You know what I'm saying, gangbanger a little bit. He was trying to prove something. Well, everyone knew me because everyone in my block and everyone, they knew I always put the gloves on. I used to beat up everyone in my block. All my friends, everything, we all fight each other. Well, this guy,
fun.
Yeah, just for fun. Yeah, but still, it was training in my eyes, right? Yeah. And then this guy came up one day. I forgot, we're on the ramp. I built a ramp. We're making, you know what I'm saying, jumping, doing things. And they call him Casper from some kind of hood, you know. And he was 18 at the time I found out recently, and I was 13. But they call him Little Man at that time. And he came up to me just talking, you know, all this thing. And I was like, what? Like, for what? And then I got my group of friends that I could beat them up. So they're looking at me like, no, man, you got to hold your own. And I look, and I try to go home, and I look at my dad at the door, like, giving me that, like, the old school nod, like, go for it.
Dang.
So then I just squared up with him, and we started going for it. I had him on the stand-up, but he grabbed me in a headlock and just started just pounding on my face.
Got you down or standing?
Headlock,
down.
stand up.
Oh, got it.
Headlock, took me on the ground.
Damn.
And just started
Bully move. Standard 18, 13-year-old bully move.
And then
what?
I couldn't do nothing. And then even his own homies were like, hey, let him up. Let me back up again. I got him on the hands. Again, get taken down, got hit. Finally stood up, and we ended up in my front lawn. And it was all dirt, and there's a big tree with a circle around it with bricks. So we're fighting, and then I just rushed him, and he tripped, and we both fell. And he cracked his head open on the bricks.
Eesh.
After that, it was like everyone was like, "Nah, stop." He was bleeding everywhere, and then I was scared. I was crying, and then and that was that. And then my dad was like, "Man, how'd you let this guy do this? Why'd you let him do that? Why'd you let him grab you like this?"
Say he's 18, Dad.
Boy, he looked so small.
My dad didn't know then.
No, I didn't know then.
Oh, gotcha.
And my dad's from Mexico, like poverty Mexico.
Yeah, whereabouts in Mexico?
So Hermosillo, Sonora. So he's looking at it like, man, I was fighting grown men my whole life. This is nothing new. And when you look at it this way, though, you know, in the U.S. side, they're like, why would you let your kid? Why would you even let your kid fight?
Yeah.
And that's things I always try to explain to him all the time. But that was not normal.
Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah, we can't do this.
Like we
man.
can't do this here, bro. Like, but yeah. And then he was like, literally right then after the fight, my eyes all puffy, everything, and then he's grabbing the pillow. He's like, I'm gonna try to headlock you. Do this, and then so we were already going through
breaking it down right there.
Yeah, he was like telling me how not to get caught in headlocks. And then I think I want to say a few days later, whatever, we watched the UFC fight Hoist. And then we saw him fight all these big guys. Ken Shamrock, he fought, Gerard Gordeau. He fought all these guys and just literally tapped them out. He goes, you need to do what that little guy's doing. And I go, well, we're going to find something like that, man. I didn't even know what it was. I go, this karate thing, they got the gi on.
Yeah.
And he said, what's it, fighting out of Torrance, California.
He's in Torrance.
You were in Torrance.
I'm like, yeah.
Damn.
And then literally we looked for it, and it was off the street that we live off. Carson
Dad,
Street.
it's across
less
the
than
street.
like half a mile.
half
Right?
a mile or a mile. Yeah.
Less than a mile for sure.
Talk about a sign.
Yeah.
So then you just showed up.
And then I showed up, and then we go, and then Henner's the first guy I met. He's like already like.
How many years ago is this?
I was 13 years old.
Now how old are you now?
26.
That's hilarious.
So half his life, right?
So you just walked in the academy.
13, and then what?
I walked in, and he was like, "Dude, kids class," and I seen the kids class through the mirror,
Little kids, though.
and they're like playing dodgeball. And I go, "Hell no, man!"
And I didn't know that I got an 18-year-old little man right here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
I go, hey,
This
ain't
undercover
what
adult.
This ain't what I saw on TV. I go,
kickboxing
hell no.
champion. I didn't know I had all that.
And then he goes, well, you're kind of small for the other class, but you can look at it. And went upstairs, and at a certain hour they had the beginners. And back then it was the Gracie Academy wasn't as structured as it is now. It was
Even beginner class, like, you show up, you survive. It was much more ruthless than it is today. Today is much more structured. And
today's more of a business.
Much more business, but also much more curriculum structure to actually retain men and women who are not natural, spirited fighters who want to learn the art and grow safely. But back in the day, it was the old school style, which any old school practitioners know about. But Brian came in to a beginner program that, within a week or two, you're sparring.
Sink or swim.
Sink or swim.
First day they were sparring.
Survival.
Like, yeah.
But the point is, just to put into perspective, like Brian's a grown man right now, got the freaking Thor hair.
Not mad
and
at
this
the
guy,
hair.
you know what I'm saying?
Not mad at the hair at all.
And he's strong now. He's a professional fighter. You see him in the cage, he looks bigger on TV. Like the whole thing, he's legit right now. So Brian, but my point is this: all to put into perspective, Brian. I mean, until he was like 22. Until you were like even fighting in the UFC, like
everyone looked at me like a small little kid.
Brian was like the guy that he fought, like Casper, who was 18 and looked 13. Yeah. Brian was 19 and looked 12. Like I'm telling you, no exaggeration. Like he's the most unassuming, and not just in his physical. He was a skinny, small guy. Like I was always skinny, but I was a taller skinny. He was a skinny and a short guy, blue eyes, and didn't speak much. He was just kind of very, very reserved. But don't take that for weakness. That's a lethal weapon, kid.
Did you know? Did you see signs?
And not just when he walked in. That's why I was like, oh, cute little kid with the blue eyes.
Go kick the ball over there.
Go kick the ball and be safe. That's what I'm thinking this whole time. But little do I know, dude, this guy, we put him in the adult classes.
Doing work.
Yeah.
Bro, that was the best, yeah.
Yeah, so he gets in there with grown men, and like literally one move you show him, done.
Well, the first day I was afraid. I didn't want to train because I seen the beginners.
I don't remember your first two classes. I don't.
I do.
I do very well, sir.
Like,
Are you in a gi?
No, I'm watching.
Oh, you're just observing the classes.
Because we're still figuring out what am I gonna do.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, it's like I see the combatives or the beginners program at the time, and I was like, oh hell, these guys. Because when you look at, especially from the outside looking in, when you see two guys, especially beginners, who don't really know jiu-jitsu, they go crazy.
It's like two animals.
Nuts.
Yeah, with no technique. So I'm looking at
it elegant and beautiful and smooth, and it's not sexy.
I'm sitting in here in like my first day, and I see these grown men like just going. And I'm like, I look at my, nah, Dad, I don't want that's too like that is what I saw on TV, but that looks crazy.
I don't want any of that.
And then he was like, no, you're gonna do this. He goes, because I'm not gonna have you at home doing nothing, and then. Or you're gonna be fighting
baseball, kickboxing, or jiu-jitsu.
He goes, you gotta do something. He goes, I don't care what you do, but you're gonna be in something.
Yeah.
I go, all right, I'll do this. Boom. I went in there. I was afraid. Everyone choked me out, but my whole quick was like, just quick on the trigger, tap.
Yeah.
Every time you're uncomfortable, someone gets something, tap. It was
He was
like
very
that,
smart,
I stayed safe.
Which is rare. Most
Yeah,
guys are
because
like,
all these guys,
he goes, well,
It's
he's so
an ego.
small. I mean,
I
he's
thought I was
literally
gonna
a
take
kid.
it easy on me. I go, oh, they probably look at me like this little kid, like let's take it easy
Nah,
on him.
but
Like,
you could
nah.
tell when you roll with someone who's squirrely.
Yeah.
You're like, no, I'm gonna cut them any slack because this fool can hang. This guy's athletic. He's capable. And remember, he's 13. This is not an 18-year-old who looks 13. It's a 13-year-old
He looks every bit of
who
12.
looks 9 or 10.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm telling you, you could not feel more sorry for a human being based on pure visual appearance and looking at them than Brian at 13. Hey, I love you, man, respect. But you could not. You look at them, you're like, oh my God, protect the baby. Like
sure.
But I'm telling you, so these guys, the reason why he's saying when they roll with him, they didn't cut him any slack is because the second you feel him
athletic.
move, you're like, wow, he's flexible, he's strong,
Yeah.
and he's fast. Because all that kickboxing, even though he wasn't punching anybody, there was athletic and there was a natural martial art capability there, and they felt that. But keep going.
Was it tough for your pops to pay for the classes?
There's a funny story that was coming next. So I trained. I never even said one word for I think how many 3 years, 4 years did I train?
3 years?
3, 4 years. I never said one word.
Didn't say anything.
I didn't speak.
Walk up, like this with his eyes down, blue, looking at the floor, walk in, walk out. But I still was his teacher. I would coach him. He would listen to every word. He would do everything, but just didn't talk.
But I would just leave.
Just come in and leave. Come in and quit. Absolute silence from this guy.
You're always kind of a shy, reserved kid growing up.
No, my dad always just said be the observant guy, like that's how
Quiet
my dad was
assassin.
always be like alert. My dad's whole thing is be alert in life. So he's always just like just be in the back, watch, study the human behavior, watch people's actions and just be that guy. So
Anyway,
that's
so
what
there
I
was
became.
literally, I don't remember any communication for the first, how many, until your dad came in that one day, but what was it, a couple of years at least? You trained?
I trained so this is what happened. I trained nonstop. After 1 month, I fell in love with it.
Yeah, he was in.
I was like, all right, I tapped out my first adult and I was like, oh, this is it.
Now I'm going for this.
I convinced my dad, like, please, man, I love this. Like, like you told me, you're the one that told me, if I want to do something, let me do this. He goes, your mom's tripping on the price. He goes,
not a month. It was late. It was a little longer, right? Were you guys training?
No, it was.
You guys were paying for a while.
No, we paid for a month. And then, so he went to the bank and he took money out for the whole year and he paid it.
Good dad.
Went home, he got it
Took it
chewed off by my mom. Because, or even our financial play at the time
didn't
even
grow up
was
rich.
hard.
Yeah.
And for him to do that, he worked overtime. Like my mom got him good.
Dang.
And after the year was up, my mom was like, his year's up. Nah, he ain't paying that again. And then he was like, sorry, man, I got to take you out.
Dang.
We got to go do go to a sport, go do something that's cheap. So I came like heartbroken to the academy, like looking at Hannah, like that's probably when I first talked
Your
to him.
dad came with you, though.
Yeah. Because my dad took me to the academy.
That was the first time he talked to
He
you.
was there for the first 2 weeks of my training, and then they never seen him
Just
until I got
rode
my
a
black
bike.
belt again.
Yeah.
Or in that one time.
Yeah, that's true.
Went in there, he came to Hannah, go, hey, man, I got to take him out. So I was in there like already, I think I had like 3 stripes on my white belt.
And you could tell he was very sad, yeah.
And then I told Hannah, I can't train anymore. I got to quit. He goes, what? He goes, you're still paying to train? He's like, no. He goes, it's all good. And he was like, and I was like, what?
I told his dad, I said, I'll take it from here.
He said, you'll take it from there. And I was like, oh, man, like, all right, what do I do? And he was like, dude, when you get in here, he goes, go in the back, fold some towels up, do some laundry, fold some geese up. You know what I'm saying? Make yourself useful in the place.
And help me in the kids' classes. That was the main
classes.
thing. Be my right-hand man, kids' class. Always, when I'm here, you're here. And that was it.
And that was it, man. From there, it was like, I get out from school, go straight to the academy, fold some stuff up,
help teach you a little kids' class.
My friend's house was around the corner. I just made sure that everything was set for the classes.
That's
towels
so
and
cool,
the geese.
man. I think my 2 takeaways from that is, one, your dad just knowing how important it was for you to be in jiu-jitsu and just kind of going all out to make sure you were covered there. Like, that's such a cool thing for a dad to do. To basically, he's investing in his son, knowing damn well it's going to cost him overtime, all this other work, which there's no love like a father's love for a son.
Man, yeah.
And then for Henner to be like, no, it's cool, man. For sure, say it a year earlier, but for when you went, no, it's cool. You don't have to. You're still paying. For obviously, say it years earlier.
Listen, so
Damn, Todd, you're still paying? Yeah, my dad's busting his ass to pay. Oh, it's all good. Dad's like, all right,
my
man.
ass in the academy, though.
Well, listen,
in the academy.
you know, put it this way: it was the best year of money he ever spent
Well,
for his dad. You know what I'm saying? Like, it all worked out. And you know, what I took from it was he hadn't spoken to me for a year. He was very dedicated, trained every single day because his dad was paying, and was killing it. So within a few months, he was catching adults, and Brian was the guy who, when an adult shows up that didn't believe in jiu-jitsu, I'm like, yo, go with the little kid in the corner. Go with the little blue eyes over there.
Go with blue eyes.
Yes, and today, there are guys like Alex Stewart, other instructors who you know from the academy, from obviously when you train there, Alex Stewart, other instructors who will testify today and say, Brian was my training partner that beat me in my first, second, third, fourth, fifth class as a grown man, proving to me that a 13-year-old can beat an adult was the proof that I needed to do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
He's the testimony for a lot of people today who still train jiu-jitsu. But anyways, I recognize that, trust me, that whole first year, I'm like, this kid has absolutely no idea how natural he is and how much potential he has and how far he can go with jiu-jitsu. So I recognized that first year. So that's why when his dad came and said, yo, we got to take him out, I'm like, stop everything. What are you talking about? I'm like, this is not about money right here. I'll take it from here.
Yes.
Don't even worry about it. You're not going anywhere because obviously I didn't know what the future, I didn't know what the manifestation of his talents and his unique abilities were going to be. But I just knew that if he stays in this, there's no limit.
It's going to be good for
no
him.
limit.
Now, and then all through high school, and you graduated high school, did you know you wanted to
talk
be a
about
fighter?
that? Hold on, let's go back real quick. Let's take it back.
High school?
Yeah, well, let's just take it back a few chapters. Just be honest, because it's important that they know the struggle.
Yeah, man. So let me see. 15, I started fight. I did my first cage fight. Rest in peace, man. Joe Tomasi told me about it.
Yeah.
He goes, man, there's these fights. They're like underground. They wear no gloves, nothing. Like I think they're palm strikes to the face.
Damn, son, you fought Fight Club style?
Yeah. He was actually, you were my cornerman. He was my first cornerman for my first fight in the cage,
cool, man.
and then until now.
That's so cool.
And so I fell in love with that, and then pretty much like school was. I had my set of like I'm gonna say I had my homies. You know what I'm saying? I had my crew. I had everything. I went through a tour of schools because of the trouble I got into.
You were getting fights in school?
I was getting fights in school. We had man, it was. I remember we had like it was on the news actually. We had the race riots. It was at Narbonne High School. It was the Mexicans versus the blacks. That's how it was. And then we have all these big fights, and all of a sudden I would get handcuffed. They would take me away from school for a week, and then all of a sudden I'd come back. These riots start again, and then all these things happening, and then my homies are getting kicked out left and right. And Narbonne's like the school I stayed the longest till that time. Then I put my hands on my teacher. It was an accident. Yeah, accident. But he fell, hit his head, and you know what I'm saying? It was bad.
Hold back the track.
It was bad.
When you say you put your hands on your teacher, was he like, who knows 7 times 8?
No. I was being
how are you gonna ask me that?
Can I cut? Yes. Can I cut?
Yes. Listen, just go
You
slow.
can say whatever you want.
Right, I was a dick, all right? Because I'm here getting suspended. I'm getting suspended for a week, 2 weeks. Everyone's like, fuck, that guy's right there. He's the one. Because all my homies were like the little leaders of that pack. And then all of a sudden they all dropped by one, and I was the last one left. So I was like, I'm the one that's holding this thing. So I had this chip on my shoulder. And plus, I never wore anything that said Gracie or nothing in school. So I was already a purple belt, and these guys had no idea who I was.
Yeah.
And they were wondering, how am I winning all my fights? I go to school, and it's my 6th period, my first day. So I was trying to keep the you know what I'm saying? This is 3 weeks after being suspended back to back.
What grade is this?
11th.
Okay.
And then I said something to the teacher. I was trying to flirt with a girl, you know what I'm saying? The teacher told me to shut up, you know, and I told him to shut up. Something stupid, trying to show off front of the girl back, you know? And he goes, go to the dean's office. I go, all right, write the paper. And he was like, all right, I go, write your fucking paper, man. Do your job, write the fucking little paper and send me on your way. You know, he was like, what? And he got mad because I came at him. So he stood in the door right before the bell rang. And he goes, you're staying after class. I go, hell no, I'm not staying after class. So the bell rang, everything happened. I walked to the door, and the whole class is behind me. And I was being a smart ass. I go, listen, guys, I'm going to ask him one time. I go, sir, can you please move out of the way? I got to go home. No. I was like, I asked him nicely, right? And the class is laughing. It's a joke. 2 times, same thing. On the 3rd time, I said, listen, man, open the fucking door. Didn't open it. So I opened the door. He closed it on my hand. I got pissed, so I grabbed him, and the door was open still. And we used to grab the geese. So I grabbed through his shirt, and the door opened. And back in the day, they had the bungalows. So I opened the door and we both tripped and his head hit the bungalow.
Can't have that, yeah.
And then I was like, next, all the kids are outside already leaving school. And then you see a student on top of the teacher. And I was like, oh, shit, I fucked up.
Yeah, big time.
And then I get up and I start running. He's like, assault. And I'm like, fuck you and your assault. I start running. Everyone was like, oh, shit, did you see, bro? I come to school the next day, and I had him for first period, too. So I walk in late to school, and I see 2 cops there. Boom, handcuffs on me. And I'm like, oh, fuck, here we go.
You can't hit teachers.
Yeah. Went to the principal or the office, right? And they're like, Ortega. I go, we finally got you. They go, we've been wanting to get you for a while.
They have enough now to get him.
Dang.
Because even when when all these problems happened, they had photos of me, like in this and this and in that.
Why do you think? Because you come from a good family, right? Like your dad works hard for you. Why do you think you? Because there's usually when there's an anger issue like this, it's usually kids are, they're resisting something.
No, well, like I was telling Heather earlier in the car, it was like. I've been and done a lot of things as well, like my cousin died and got shot, you know what I'm saying? That triggered a different kind of thing. And then hanging out and getting in fights with the home, you know what I'm saying? I was from the hood,
Yeah.
And then the next year, one of my good friends, I consider him one of my best friends, he got shot and died, you know what I'm saying? I got to see him right there laid out. So all these things happening.
That's all due to
this is all like within 6-7 months of each other and all do the same thing. Yeah, drive-bys. And then so, you know what I'm saying? So I'm already looking at my kids in school like, you guys don't even know what I'm going through,
Yeah.
And I think that's another reason why, So I didn't really...
Because a lot of times when someone's in
cannon.
martial arts, like it helps with that discipline, guys not to get in fights, right?
Right, and that's kind of where the balance came in to some degree. But go back to high school. So you got kicked out of Narbonne and the whole district.
No, I got kicked out of Narbonne.
Let's get to graduating high school.
Yeah, I got kicked out of there.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Well, the funny thing is, I was in the office still talking shit. I was in handcuffs, and then the cop, I thought I was going to get expelled. I was like, I ain't worried. And the cop goes, oh, you're going to LP, Los Padrinos, Miss Juvenile Hall. And I was like, oh, hell no. He's like, you're going to do 8 months minimum. And I was like, hell no. Then my dad walks in, and then the cop said, like, all you need is the teacher to testify against you. So the teacher walks in, and my dad's in there. And I was like, man, if you fucking testify, when I get out, I'm going to fuck you up. Yeah, and my dad's like, hey, shut up, man. And I'm like, nah, fuck this. So I'm getting this big argument. My dad's telling me, shut up. And then the cop's like, you see, we love people like, the cops influencing the dean too. So everyone's there. And I'm, pretty much, yapping my mouth. And then the guy said, I don't want to do nothing. He goes, I just want out of my life, out of this school. And I was like, cool. I looked at the dean like, take these off. Uncuff me, send me to another school.
Good and bad, I guess.
Yeah.
Depends where you look at it.
Depends.
Yeah. You could have used a little time in LP, but, either way.
Yeah,
so when did you chill out and get away from all this
when I dropped
shenanigans?
out.
So you dropped out of Narbonne. That school's done.
No, I went to my next school, and I had my transcripts in my hand, and I'm walking, and someone said something. Gonna fight.
God, dog.
So then they called Carson. They called Carson High School, and then it was like Carson High School didn't take me. I went to, and at the time it was Gardena High School. Like their fence is it looked like a prison.
Yeah.
And that was where all the mess ups were going. First day in there, started something, and then the funny thing is they made it to the parents sound like it was like I was like, man, I'm like, you're under contract and this. If you mess up here, you're expelled from the district and this and that. I was like, I better behave. Walked in there and it was a joke. Like the school was a joke, like those movies, like those schools you see in movies where everyone just talks and it was
talking
that
about
school.
Dangerous Minds,
huh?
You're talking about like Dangerous Minds.
Yeah, like it was something like that, bro.
You're a little too young for that, yeah.
And then and pretty much.
So you got kicked out of that school.
So then that school, I literally used to go to that school just to fight.
Dude,
I'll go in there, fight, hop the fence, leave, call my homies. We would hop in school, we would fight, and we would leave. And then after that, I was like, why am I even going to school? I'm not learning anything. I have 60 absences. Like, I would just go, leave for 2 weeks. Come back, start something, leave for 2 weeks. Come back, you know what I'm saying? Flirt or do whatever, and then leave for 2 weeks.
What would your parents say about this, though?
They didn't know anything.
They had no idea.
Yeah. The school literally didn't call nothing. And even them, like, at that time, my other sister was done and she was doing bad. My other sister dropped out. So, dropout wasn't like a big thing. And then finally I was like, you know what, man, I'm tired of this. I'm dropping out. So I dropped out and I started training full time and then hanging out with the homies full time. And I remember Hannah was like, hey, how come you're not at school? I go, nah, it's a free day. He go, what do you mean it's a free day? I go, it's Brian Free Day. And then he's like, what do you mean? I go, it's Brian Free Day. Because I used to train in the morning. I used to train in the mornings.
I'm like, why are you here during the day? You should be in school right now. You're 16 years old.
Yeah, what's going on
So then what?
And then my guess, well, man, you tell them. My mom snitched me out to you, man, behind my back.
So your mom,
These guys got
was it your mom? Was it your mom who came?
Yeah, my mom came to you.
That's what it was. Finally, mom came for her request. Okay, and that's when she said, Henry, Brian's not going to school. Brian has dropped out of school. Please do something, blah, 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 blah. And then I pulled you in, and that's when I said, listen, bro, I think it was pretty simple, right? I said, if you're not in school, if you're at any point of period from right now until you graduate, if you're not in school, you're not doing jiu-jitsu.
I hated you for that.
That was it.
I gotta lie.
You made him go to school.
Yeah. And then you went to the extension
He took the only
school.
thing I loved. That was the only positive thing in my life was the academy. The homies was crazy. School was crazy. Everything else was crazy. Home with my sister was crazy. So my escape was the academy.
Jiu-jitsu, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I said,
And
graduate.
then when he took it from me, at the time I didn't understand. I was like, man, that's fucked up touching my bro. Like,
Yeah.
you're gonna go in size with my mom? Like, that's cold, bro.
So then that
You went to that
forced you
extension
do
school. You went to other school a little bit.
Well, then,
PV?
I couldn't go to any school anywhere. Like, I'm out of the district.
Right.
And then there's PV High. But guys like me can't go to Palos Verdes High. It's like nothing but, rich people,
Fancy,
wealth. Yeah.
You got to live there.
Who went through this whole thing of one of my friends, his dad got legal custody of me. And I went to PV to live there. And I went to school there.
Oh, nice.
But I showed up to the regular high school there, and they go, we can't take you. I go, why not? I go, well, you're a senior. Technically, you should be a senior, but you have 9th grade credits. So I go, what do I do? And they sent me to a continuation school up there.
Where you build those credits up.
Yeah.
And literally, that's what I did, man. I went to school there.
Bringing books
And
to
it
the
was from
academy
like
and
8.
stuff.
Yeah, it was like 8 to 12:30. It was easy.
That's not bad.
Yeah. So I literally used to go in there 12:30, take off, go to the academy. You used to have like packets. So as long as your packets are done for every class, you're good. So you bang them all out in 2 days, 3 days, and you don't have to do anything for 2 weeks. 2 weeks you turn them in, you get a new one, do them again. And I had people doing them for me, or I had, you know what I'm saying?
You
Like,
didn't tell me that.
Gotta get it done.
Efficiency.
and then eventually I made friends with all the teachers.
Nice.
And then like literally like the kids there were like the PV mess ups, So none of them were really, from what I've seen, where I come from, they're poo butts.
Yeah.
And then the teacher, one of them was telling the teacher something, and they called him like, "Oh, you fucking Jew," and this and that. And I was like, "Yo, go chill, bro. Like, he's not even doing nothing to you." And then the teacher like kind of looked at like, I stood up for him. And then I stood up. I told him, "Man, listen, man, you say something else, I'll smack the shit out of you." He stayed quiet. So that teacher loved me.
Yeah.
And then I explained to that teacher, "Listen, man, I'm never gonna go to school in my life. I go, I'm gonna be a fighter. I go, I don't need this. I don't need that. When am I going to use geometry? You know what I'm saying? When am I going to use
triangles?
Economy. When am I going to...
We got him. Don't be saying that's the one thing you have been using.
All right.
And you've been cashing in. Remember that bonus check too? All right, bro.
All right.
Yeah.
Geometry got you 50 grand.
Economy. You know what I'm saying? All these things, and I go, listen, you're invited to come to my fight. Because I was fighting on the ground still. And then he came to one of my fights. Remember?
Yeah, I remember right there in the hood.
The teacher came to my fight, and then he was like, "All right, cool." So literally, he would just pass me.
Damn.
And I had 3 classes with him. So he would pass 3 classes. The other teacher was cool with me.
I didn't know this till right now.
Yeah.
But so nonetheless,
So high school was easy for that part because there was no one in there that wanted trouble. People who tried a little bit, they already kind of they figured me out real quick. So it was like I had no problem. And
then you graduate from there?
Yeah.
And then after, obviously, college is for you.
you
And
know,
then after that, it was
After that, I went back to the academy.
Full-time teaching, traveling, training, preparing, fights. These amateur initially, and then eventually professional fights.
I did 11 of these fights.
But I'll tell you what, for me, the most kind of treacherous and testing time of our relationship was between 15 and 19 years old, right? So where he's now my sidekick, my man right here who's helping me teach, who's working at the academy, who's doing all this stuff, and now he's there. And like these incidences of his cousins and his best friends, and people are getting shot. Like this is real, you know, like actual, you know, people are losing their lives now. And he would come in, this would happen regularly, where he'd come in and he'd do a class, and after class he'd be all upset and still like you just kind of reserved. And this is already when we're in a talking phase where we have a good relationship now because he's actually teaching with me, 15, 16 years old, and just I'm like, what's up, Brian? And then he would eventually tell me that, you know, so-and-so got shot and died like last week. You know, and like this has never really happened in my life, like, you know, like where you don't just lose people like this, you know, and where he was coming from in his, you know, in his neighborhood and his upbringing and his friends and his group and his lifestyle there outside of the academy was one of absolute conflict and always everyone on the run and these, you know, gangbanging to for lack of better description to some degree. You know, some people would call it that, but it was crazy because he'd come to the academy, you know, have this, and I'm just there as kind of a sounding board, like, you know, trying to, you know, give advice and guide and say, hey, man, well, you know, it's ultimately you got to make decisions for yourself, and here's the pros and cons of these situations. And, you know, for me, what it always felt like was it was just a matter of time before he
got cut,
before he wouldn't show up anymore, forever.
Do you feel like
shot,
a success
killed, or
story
arrested
from that? Do your friends, do your homies from back then, the rough times, they feel like you're the one who made it out, like you're the success
They always tell
story?
me that, yeah, like, hey man, hey dog, I'm glad you made it out, man. I'm glad you made it out. They all tell me they're all happy for me, and but a lot of them, like I said, man, a lot of them passed away. A lot of them went away. Someone locked up. Either they're all, like I said, man, it's true.
None of them are probably
you're
doing
dead.
well.
You're dead, or in jail.
Yeah.
And all my homies and one of my best friends, he just got out of jail. And he went in when I was 18, you know what I'm saying? So, and he just barely got out.
Phase right now. He's
so now, like now, these guys are all getting out. They've done 9 years, 8 years, and you know what I'm saying? They're like, hey man, we're proud of you. Like, you know what I'm saying? We saw you in there. Like, I bet on you. You won me some soups.
When
you know,
they're in
like
jail, they're betting on Brian's fights.
Cool.
yeah, but like, you know, they're cool, man. They know what I'm doing and they respect it. And they're like, hey man, just handle your business.
But I'm telling you, bro,
That's
it was
a crazy
it was
story, man.
mind blowing. Brian would not show up for 3 months.
He seems like he seemed like the nice kid ever. I didn't know this.
but I
Before he
am,
came, I
though.
didn't know this crazy ass story. I thought you were just.
But I am though. That's the thing.
He is though. That's the thing.
That's
Here's what I'll
the
tell you
thing.
about
When
Brian.
people see like the oh man, this guy's from like, man, one thing I was telling Hunter, man, there's some of the most realest, coolest, and loyal people there is out there, man.
Oh, I'm not saying
true.
they're not. I'm saying
Yeah.
as far as you being a hothead.
Yeah.
I have some friends that grew up rough. They're usually the nicest,
yeah.
most down to earth people because to get by when you're at that level, you have to have good social interaction skills because you need
and quick
other
reads,
people to
yeah,
get stuff
and
done.
you got to be real because you got to
And there's
detect
no
the
bullshit
BS right away.
either.
Yeah, he was
Yes.
telling me that. You
I was
know?
just telling Hunter, man, like,
There's no
if you
bullshit.
show up there and they don't like you, but like, I don't fucking like
Yeah,
this
you're
guy.
gonna know right away.
They'll tell you right there, I don't like you.
Yes.
There's
So
no
I
political-
wasn't saying that. I'm saying as far as being a hothead and getting all these fights, I would never suspect. that
Listen,
from
Brian's evolved immensely, and it's just been the most fascinating thing to watch from my perspective, because literally I knew that if he could just break free from this lifestyle that was ripping
tough
at him.
to do.
And here's the thing about Brian is that Brian's one of his greatest attributes is his courage and his loyalty. Mm-hmm. Anybody needs to go, he'll go first.
Yep.
And loyalty is to a fault almost.
Yes.
To where he was loyal in many ways, well, to the academy and jiu-jitsu and to a good thing, but he was equally loyal to a negative lifestyle, right? I mean, he would paint it as negative.
So those are his friends he grew up with.
maybe at the time it felt like I got to do this, and that's what a lot of times I felt. It was like, man, Henry, these are my boys, my people. They would die for me. I would die for them. Like there's that sense. And instead of saying, no, screw them, don't do it. I'm like, listen, Brian, ultimately, you're going to do what you're going to do, and we're always here for you. And it literally got to the point where I was like, I don't know what's going to happen with this kid. I just know that the academy is like, I feel like he treats it like a little paradise vacation.
Yes.
Where every time he would come to me, I had no idea what he was running from or leaving behind or ignoring or just dealing with. And he's here at the academy, and all I was trying to be a sounding board and someone who was neutral in my judgment of the situation and someone who provided a place where he felt safe to speak or safe to do something that would get his mind off of that.
Yep.
And literally, like all the way until 17, 18, 19 years old, I'm like, man, I just hope. And there were a couple of false fronts where he's like, man, Henner, he would come in and something bad would happen. And he's like, man, Henner, I'm done. That's it. I'm done, man. This fool did this. That guy did that. We went out with the guns and we did this. And like, telling me stories. And I'm like, damn, you did that yesterday?
Put a gi on.
Don't be a snitch. No.
Yeah, put a gi on.
Listen, I'm like, that all happened last week, yesterday. I'm like, Brian. And in my mind, all I'm thinking is, God.
Did they write Dangerous Minds after Brian Ortega? What the fuck is going on here?
And in my mind, I'm thinking, God, if he can just. And then he would come in though and say, Henner, that's it. I gotta get, man. He knew what the right thing was to do, but for whatever mix of emotions and universal forces, he just wasn't doing it. And then he would go back, and I wouldn't see him for 2 months, and it was like this back and forth. And then,
No, but 18, I slowed down though. When
yeah, but there was a couple little glimpses of hope after that too, bro. That booms, these little come throughs.
And
Well, I got caught. I went to jail for a little bit, but remember when I got caught for the car thing?
Yes,
I did a little high speed chase.
Got it.
Yeah,
Car thing.
I literally was. Yeah.
That's right.
I tagged up a whole wall with my lights on, music bumping, like not caring. And then when I was almost done, the cop shined his light on me, so I hopped and I took him for a little run. Had a couple cars on me now, and then I parked, and I actually I bought a window. I bought myself a window, and I got away. And I turned in my own block, hoping for parking, and there was no parking.
Oh.
And then I look back, and the cop passes me this way, and I know they're gonna turn around, so I just leave the car in the middle of the street, take off, run, got away, and then this was the most embarrassing moment of my life because one of the friends I had with me was schizophrenic, so he froze and he stayed there.
Well,
and then and I'm with my neighbors hanging out, and the cops are there, and they're like, oh, "That your car?" I go, "Hell yeah, it's my car." They go, "What the fuck, man?" I go, "Fuck that!" I go, "I'm going to jail, shit."
Yeah.
No, they're just gonna take that shit. I'm gonna tell them it's stolen. They go, "Nah, bro, they're gonna go knock in your house.
Your registration is in the car. Your address is right there.
Yeah.
So I go, "Oh shit!" I was like, and the last thing I want to do is embarrass my dad like that, where the cops knocked the house down.
Yeah.
So I literally walked up to them, like in the middle of the street, lights flashing, everything. And everyone's like, "Get on your knees," the whole thing. So it was embarrassing because all my neighbors see me go through that. And they all love me. They see me as a kid growing up and everything. When I went through that, I just turned 18. And then man, and they left my cell phone in my pocket. So I called my dad. I was like, and trying to be hard. And I was like, "Hey, Dad," I go, "I'm going to go to jail for a while, man." I go, "Get the car, man. I know you guys need the car for the family and everyone." I go, "Just get the car." I go, "Don't worry about me." He goes, "I'm not worried about you." He goes, do your thing. I don't want to talk to you when I'm in there. Do your thing. Get out. I go, "All right." Try to play it tough. I was hoping I'm like, "Oh, mijo, like,
please don't leave.
like, yeah,
what?
I was hoping for something like
you've been training since you were 4. I'm not worried about that. There.
No, not even that worried about like that.
That's different though, man. And then I was like, but don't wake my mom up, because my mom, her background, like she dealt like her. I'm saying my grandpa went to jail for pretty much her whole life, and my uncles and everything on my mom's side is that kind of life. So that triggers a certain thing in a mom,
Yeah.
And I go, "Don't tell my mom. Just be low key. Come get the car, park in. She wakes up. She'll find out I'm in jail too late."
Yeah.
So then the worst was like, I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I look in the window, and my mom's face right there. I go, "You fucking snitch!" And she's like, "Oh, Brian, mijo, why?" And I was like, I'm just like my uncle, like trying to play it tough, but it's like it was stupid.
So anyways,
And
that's
she,
bouncing back and forth, and there,
So you've obviously, it's that crazy ass upbringing, crazy story. And then when you signed with the UFC, did you feel like you made it? Like has life been just this whole new chapter? Has it been what you thought?
It was actually like, it was slowing down, man. Like I turned pro when I was 19.
It was slowing down.
After that, it was, like I said, there was not too many people to hang out with.
Yeah.
All my homies dead, jail, snitches, and left. There's a few of them, and even the ones that are there weren't really the ones that were, I'm saying, my homies.
They weren't your guys,
yeah, so it was like, it was on and off. So that's when I said, you know what? I better stop pressing my luck. I'm going to go pursue this fighting now. I had my coach James Larson. He was like, "Hey, listen, man."
That's the guy I always see you with, right?
Yeah.
Great guy.
Yeah, he was like, the second he met me, he goes, "I don't know. I heard something about you. Someone at the docks told me." He goes, "Stay away from you because it's just a matter of time before you know." He goes, "I got a family." He goes, "Yeah, I'm not gonna fucking hang out with you if you're doing that shit." He goes, "So you're stopping? You're stopping." He goes, "Well, I don't want you around me." I go, "Man, I want to pursue this fight." I go, "I'm done." So I literally, like, after that, it was like I quit. Not quit, but, you know, like, I changed my focus.
Mm-hmm.
And then did my first pro fight. And after that, started fighting more. And then, and that was it, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Certain things in life happened to me that it was like, made me see something better for myself, you know. And
Good for
like,
you, man. So then you're undefeated in the UFC. You got wins over Tavares. You got wins Clay Guida, Diego Brando. What? So, and then you've been gone. A lot of people are like, well, what the hell? Where the hell has he been? You had surgery on your shoulder, right?
Yeah.
So you've been gone for how long? Last fight was Clay Guida.
It was in the summer. It was June.
So almost a year.
And I trained for another fight that was supposed to happen in October. And I think 3 weeks before that, I was training and then rolling, and then just my arm got dislocated just out of like weird positioning.
Sure.
And then I had to pull back from that fight like 3 weeks before the fight.
So they got you ranked now as what, 9?
They had me 9, and then they think
Where's he at,
jumping
Chin?
and
Can you look
bumping, and
him
then
up?
it went to 10. So
You're somewhere around 8 to
Yeah.
10. I've seen.
yeah, it just
So
keeps
we-
hopping. It hops up and down.
The
So
thing
I'm
is,
like,
when you're 9 or 10 in the UFC, it's not like you can fight just Joe Schmo.
no, they want
you
to. Yeah, they want to set you
You're
up.
gonna
yeah.
fight, a decent guy. Is there anyone you want to fight?
I have a couple people in mind that I don't like, but it's pretty much.
They got you number 10 on there.
Yeah, so it's number 10. Yeah, so it's cool.
Let me see the top 10, Chin.
Let me jump into rankings.
So when do you think you'll be ready to fight?
I talked to the doctor. He goes, I'm 4.5 months after surgery, post-op.
That's a while.
And then he goes, and I told him everything I'm doing, though. I go, listen, man, I'm doing this, I'm lifting this, I'm training like this. So he's impressed with it. And he told me, he goes, in 2 months, we're going to have a strength test. And we're going to do everything that we can for you in the physical therapy that you have till you hit that test. If you pass that test, we'll clear you. If you don't, you have to do things my way.
I bet you passed that test.
So that's what
So you're looking at like maybe a July.
And then he
August.
said, and then he said, and after that, he goes, take 2 months to train for a fight, still see us, and hopefully you'll
This
fight
is
like
UFC
July,
doctor or
August.
your
This is the
doctor?
doctor. Yeah, this is the doctor at Curlin Job.
Oh, word.
Yeah.
Because you look at the top 10, you got Yair Rodriguez number 9, right under you there. But Yair's a guy who's fighting Frankie Edgar now.
He's fighting Frankie Edgar.
Yeah, number 2.
Yeah.
So it's just that division, literally, freaking 11 through to the champ Jose Aldo. It's like the Wild West, man. I mean, you're fighting.
But I don't really,
That's
like
the
I said,
best.
I see it as a fighter, but as I see it also like, what I'm saying, like as a coach for myself, like I don't see a guy in there that's going to really dominate me, you know what I'm saying?
I know I like your chances, and I'm not just saying that because you're here.
I'm looking
I
at
like your chances. with
Anthony
any of those
Pettis.
guys.
I don't think he's going to go to 45 anymore. He
Yeah,
said the
he's
last
out.
time he's out.
So let's go ahead and put you at 9 because he's
Yeah.
out.
And then,
I would love to see some Mexican crime. You and Yair
bro, trust
Rodriguez.
me, I've said it in some things, man. I go, there's nothing like, even in boxing, when two Mexicans go at it, it's a fucking war.
Yes.
So that is what it is. But I think they're building him up right now. It's good for the Mexico, to Mexico to follow and get on the MMA train.
I agree.
But,
there seems to be a Mexican.
Because I told them too. I go, hey man, I'm Mexican. What's up with that? They go, but he goes, they want someone from Mexico. They don't want no one from. You know what I'm saying? I'm born in the U.S.
Pretty
so
blue eyes
I'm-
doesn't work.
God,
yeah,
you're
like,
fucking Mexican though. That's still Mexican.
I know, but they look at me like, fuck, I'm kind of middle.
No, plus black belt surfing is not very Mexican either.
Yeah. Plus it's
but, you,
surf.
but you speak great Spanish, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they
I'm
could
actually.
definitely.
I was supposed to comment. I'm doing the commentating now for the fights in Spanish.
Oh, good for you, man.
Yeah.
Are you still doing? I saw you doing some
The
UFC,
UFC now. Yeah, I'm doing that.
Is that English or American?
I do both.
Damn, good for you,
Yeah.
brother.
Hold on, you said English or American?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Because they're
I've been here all day. Oh, no.
Listen, I
English
went to
or
Blasphemy
Spanish?
because we're
Oh,
homies.
no, you can.
But they're going to call you
No,
on
I'm
it.
glad you did. I've been doing this
I'll
all
just do it
goddamn
for you guys.
day.
I already got him. You guys,
English
let him cut
or
him some
American?
slack, bro. He's a hardworking man.
Well, brother, I mean, I hope to see you back soon. One of the reasons I wanted you on here because I knew your story was crazy. I didn't know it was that crazy.
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
No, but again,
I don't really like I
it's-
said, man, I don't really like to. I tell him all the time when the people try to do films or little thing, like I always shut them down. I go, I don't want to say nothing. I don't want to. Just
I think the more
the
the-
past haunts you, you know.
for sure.
So, and that's
Yeah.
things I always think about, and
Yeah,
I have
no, you're a
nightmares
terrible
about. It's
kid in
like,
high
man, last thing
school.
I want to do is like
Yeah.
this guy made it. Oh, look, he did me wrong, you know.
For sure. But the brighter thing here is one of the bigger stories. My takeaway would be obviously you have a rough upbringing. Your product of your environment, and that's fine. And you made it out there. You're doing your thing now. You're killing it. And Henner and your dad invested in you, and you're obviously doing great things. But also the story here is you're a top 10 guy, number 9 in the world, and you're teaching. Well, take Anthony Pettis out. You're 9,
Got
son.
it.
So you're teaching. The
I like it.
police. Doing all these seminars and just doing the damn thing, man.
Yeah, it's a shame, because I feel like you mentioned in the beginning, if the UFC,
Well, how many kids can relate to Brian? More kids can relate to Brian's story who are going through just the roughest of rough times right now.
Yeah.
And go, dude, look what Brian did. He came from the same background as me. He's going through the same struggles. Man, I was that horrible kid in high school and middle school.
There was tough times, but like I said, I would do like I said, when my friend got shot and killed, the guy, after everything's happened, they let you say goodbye in the hospital. So me and another guy said goodbye to him. And then later, the guy I said goodbye with, he's passed away too.
Jesus.
And then, but literally with that week, that happened on a Thursday. Sunday, I flew with him to go teach a seminar. So I have like this, you know what I'm saying? I'm already mentally messed up. And then now I got to fake the funk at the seminar. And then he's a little afraid, don't lie.
with what?
When you drop me off.
Yeah, I'm driving to the hood over here, like driving Brian and like.
Taking the test on the hood?
No, this is
This shit won't leave the hood.
Oh, yeah, no, you fucked up. You take that Batmobile to the hood.
No, he had a Maxima. He had a blue
Oh,
Nissan Maxima.
Ultima. So I'm driving low key, right? So this is early days, pre Gracie breakdown.
Okay. I don't know what we're talking about here.
Nah, come on, man.
Anyway, so I'm driving him over there to drop him off, and I get over there, and there's 15, 20 people in front of the house. He's like, yo, this is where the house got shot right there. That's where the drive-by was. This is where it all goes down, and it's crazy, like, to think that,
There's your
hey,
friend.
it's
He was
right
like,
here.
He was like, hey, ain't no one gonna mess with me, right? Ain't no one gonna kill me, right? Ain't no one gonna shoot me, right? I go, bro, you're cool.
Can't
Like,
guarantee anything.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Can't guarantee anything.
That's the truth.
But around here,
Brian-
it should be all right.
Brian plays cool.
no, but you're
the
with me
reality
though.
is-
You're with me. You're cool, man.
But still, he has to get out of there. I'd be a little nervous too.
Listen, but either
So
way,
that he dropped me, like I said, we
right
did
after
this
the seminar, we did a
beautiful
whole week,
seminar.
and then I get home on a Friday to drop him off, and we're at the house over there
Yeah, and we had the viewing at his house.
that night.
So yeah,
straight
so
from the
you see
airport, I dropped him
everyone-
off at the viewing for
So everyone's
the shot guy who
there.
got shot the
You
week
know what I'm
prior.
saying? Everyone's there that night. So, and he drops me off, and I literally I get off, I leave my bags in the front yard, and I go say my goodbyes. So it was.
But that's what it was touch and go, bro. This whole time, and that's what nobody has any idea. And I see so many of these fighters out there, and I respect every one of them. But like when I look at them, I'm like, man, and I'm sure Brian feels the same way. That in terms of coming from somewhere like the absolute craziest story.
Yeah, the odds are against him. Man.
It's mind blowing what he's accomplished, and from the in the UFC, in the octagon, from a fighting perspective, he has a spirit, he has a talent and a skill set that you watch him, you're like, wow, this guy is so relaxed, so dangerous, so effective, and a heart that doesn't quit, right? So he's going to the end. How many times he's won in the last round, and
That's why I want you to get back in there, man.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
trying
Get
to
back
get
in
back
there.
in
Get
there,
some
man.
work,
Yeah.
brother.
But
But that's
people-
why I wanted you on. This is a crazier story than I could have imagined. I knew it was crazy, but I didn't know it was this crazy. But I always got your back, man.
No, but yeah,
Obviously,
we're good
Henner,
people, man. You know what I'm saying? Everything's good.
And on social media, I know you're not a big freaking, you don't watch UFC or anything like that, but they can follow you on social media. It's just at
Brian T. City,
Brian
right?
T. City.
T City, and then obviously Henner. You're all over, man.
Rener Gracie breakdowns, you guys, and it's been so cool because if you just trace back, like you go back a little bit in the history of the YouTube channel of the Gracie Academy, the amount of videos that he's in with me traveling the world at 15, 16, 17. When he was
cool,
17, we went to teach cops. And they're like, yo, anybody want to get tasered? And I'm like, yeah,
No, wait, don't lie. Don't lie. Hell no.
Look it up.
Check this out. All right, no.
Brian Taser YouTube.
Wait.
I know. I'm
I'm gonna tell you the story. You're lying right
you guys
now.
have about 2 minutes before the video cuts out because we're
Brian
over
Taser,
3 hours.
All right. Listen.
You got 2 minutes.
All right, Thursday night. We're watching this thing, right?
News.
In the news, some guy got killed in the airport because he got
Canadian airport.
tasered to death.
His heart jumped and he died.
All right, the next day, he goes, hey, man, are you down to get tasered? And I just jokingly said, do you have a camera? And he was like, yeah. And that was it.
That was it. So
And then all of a sudden, I see them bringing this taser on and everything.
So
I'm
then
like,
they asked me
I'm looking at these guys like, oh, someone's going to get tasered right now. Hell yeah. I'm 17 years old. And all of a sudden, they stopped the class and goes, everyone.
You guys, I want you to give a swarm round of applause and major congratulations. Brian has volunteered to get tasered.
And I
They
was
were like,
yo.
yeah! And Brian was like,
I
oh.
say, what? I go, hell no, you lying.
So then, look at this. Look at this is the young 17-year-old Brian right here.
Fast forward to like.
Fast forward. Just scroll. Let me see the scroller. Let me see the scroll.
No, a little bit left. Right there. Scroll.
Right there.
No.
Right here.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so young.
Look, that's Brian, 17.
Jeez.
Really? That's what I'm telling you.
Brian, explain the Kimura arm lock. Explain the Kimura.
Can we show this video?
Yeah, you have my rights. You have my permission.
It's on YouTube. But name one kind of guy who's older and puts a 17-year-old to get tasered like that. I'm just saying. Not responsible, Hannah.
Look at this guy right here. So right now, Brian, you have to. The two guys hold your arms. You're supposed to turn your back.
The whole world.
I'm gonna piss my
I'm
pants.
like, yo, Brian, the whole world's gonna watch right now.
Brian, let me see your t-shirt. Let me see the guillotine shirt.
Let me see your shirt, Brian. Look at me. Look at him. Look at him. Look at him.
I was trying to say stop.
Could you even talk?
No, I said stop, and I go up, and my hand was trying to tap.
trying to tap.
Horrible?
Hell yeah.
I've never done it before, bro. That's why I bring Brian when we travel and stuff. The K9 dogs. Secret Service had the
here we're going
K9
now,
dogs, bro. Brian, K9 attack. No, I'm messing. Listen,
I'm
hilarious.
down, bro. I'm down.
Brian's super down.
God,
The most down
super
person you'll
down.
ever meet. So
Ever.
I knew that
I would
if I
not do that.
I know, me neither. And I haven't. So, anyways, all cops do it when to become certified taser. You have to get taser. So I knew he wasn't going to die.
We're
There's all
for
these cops
sure
there.
gonna show that
I'm
on.
like,
But
he's
I
safe.
even said that we just watched a video the night before a guy
That
died,
messed
bro.
it up.
Like,
the guy died in the Canadian airport because
Hell
he got
yeah,
tasered. The
like,
cops.
come on, bro.
But then the truth is, you're not supposed to die from a taser. It's like, it's an anomaly.
guy-
It's
yeah,
an anomaly.
he's-
Heart condition,
yeah,
blah, blah, blah.
he's the
And
outlier.
Brian's
they
young,
didn't take
healthiest.
anything with me.
That's
I don't know if I had
hilarious, though.
anything.
Listen, you have the healthiest heart in all of Mexico. He's going to be just fine. I knew his heart was okay from his sparring, right? So anyway.
Don't let him tase you anymore, brother.
Nah, trust
Listen.
bro.
All right,
So-
guys. Well,
I'm
we
gonna get
can't
my
thank you enough
payback.
for coming on, man. Both
Listen,
of you guys.
much respect. Big
Brothers
Brown
from another
Breakdown,
mother.
doing big things. Thanks as always, man.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah.
Oh, those guys are fun. Good times. Good times. Rener Gracie, Brian Ortega. You guys can find them on all the social media outlets. You know how it goes. I'm looking forward to Brian's next fight. Then Rener with the Gracie online, all that stuff. They're in Torrance, the Gracie Academy in Torrance. The by far the best jiu-jitsu gym I've ever been to. Go check that out. We got some fan questions, Chin. I saw we got a bunch of them. So let's dive on into that.
Okay, the first one, Chervascu. Since most heavyweights don't need to cut weight, how does the diet plan differ for them compared to other weight classes?
Oh man, you're talking about an extreme difference because, if you're, let's say you walk around 190 pounds, you cut to 170, you got to watch everything you put into your body from the calorie intake, the fats, the sugars, the carbs. Like it's a job. There's a reason why guys miss weight, but there's also a reason why guys are so diligent about it, and they make sure they know exactly what they're putting into their body because every calorie counts. Now, on the other side of that, with a heavyweight, I was always a guy who maybe it's just more of a mental thing for me. I thought I'd gain an advantage by eating all healthy, organic. I never ate junk food. I never really ate bullshit because I thought it would help me, with my cardio and my nutrition in the fight. I thought it was just another advantage over my opponents because a lot of heavyweights, I remember when I was fighting Gabriel Gonzaga, I saw him in the lobby. We were fighting in Orange County, Anaheim. And we're fighting in Anaheim, and he's in the Hyatt or whatever, the Fighters Hotel. And I see him literally right before we're headed to the fight, he's eating a giant Starbucks latte. Like, I don't even know if they made the Trenti at that time. He had like the Gonzaga size. It was fucking huge. It was like a big gulp latte, iced with caramel in it. And he was eating a giant like donut and muffin. And I thought, all right. Like, for me, that gives me an advantage. I'm like, ooh, I like that. I've seen guys in the back. Mitrione before our fight was eating a Chipotle burrito. See, I like seeing that. But a lot of heavyweights, they can eat bullshit because, that's what they're used to, and to them it's not a big deal. They don't have to make weight. Unless you're a guy that's at like 170, 175, and you have to cut to 65, then you can usually sweat down the sauna because a lot of that's fat unless you're just a monster. But, a lot of heavyweights just literally eat whatever they want, which is why you see a lot of their physiques look like pure doo-doo because they don't care. They're disciplined in other aspects, but they don't have to be in making weight.
That makes me think of Cain Velasquez for some reason. He seems like he's not super ripped, but he seems like he's very, very smart about his diet and everything. I would imagine he's really smart about his diet, but do you think he is?
I think he eats a lot of Mexican food. I think he's where the fuck he wants, and he just does so much cardio and such a beast. It's not a bodybuilding contest. Mm-hmm. So he's like, if I eat this fucking Nachos Bel Grande, it doesn't matter to me. So, I'm still going to perform, and that's what I'm used to. Again, it's not a bodybuilding contest. So, a lot of guys will just eat what makes them happy. For him, I don't think it's a discipline issue. But then you got guys like Kelvin who, even at 85, he's not winning any Mr. Olympia contest. He has that boxy body, and, he's kind of the Cain Velasquez of the 185-pound division. His physique's not impressive, but the skills are.
All right, next question. LC7 or IC7. How can UFC avoid all these off fights? Is it even possible for them?
What do you mean by off fights? You mean like when they drop out?
All call off fights. Oh yeah, all these call off.
So
fights.
when they miss weight?
Yeah. So just like could be.
Yeah, and again, we talked about this a little bit on the fight campaign with Rogan, Eddie, and Brian. But Rogan and I were suggesting I think you have to count it as a loss. So Khabib, that's a loss. Kelvin missing, there's no catch weight. It's just a loss. Because you're going to see Mackenzie Dern and LFA, or whatever the hell they're fighting in. Yeah. That's a loss. There's no catch weight. There's no negotiation. There's no 20% of purse. You get a loss, I get my full purse. So the stakes will be so high, guys will make sure they're on it. Their trainers will make sure that everyone's on weight, everyone's doing the right steps necessary to make weight. Because if you go, hey man, if you miss weight, this is a loss. We receive zero money. That guy gets the win. You move down the rankings. He moves up. You know how important that is to someone? So I think you're going to see a lot more guys taking it serious because if he misses weight and you go, all right, well, you're docked 20%, we still fight him. Yeah, and he gets the win. The media and everyone goes, well, he beat him. That's not the way it should work. If there should be no competition, it's a fucking loss and win for the other guy. That would stop a lot of this shenanigans.
Yeah. And the one, remember the whole grabbing things, whatever, is just automatic point. You said it would stop that, so yeah.
Yeah, same thing with eye pokes, grabbing, knee to down opponent, nut kicks, point. There's no, I don't need a replay, I don't need anything, point. You're going to see a lot less of it. Loss, win for the other guy in weight cuts, you're going to see a lot less guys missing weight. What else you got?
All right, this isn't really MMA that I know of. Ethan Matthews, do you find LeVar Ball extremely annoying? And do you think he's going to affect his son's draft stock this year?
Great question. You know who this guy is?
No.
You guys know who the Ball family is? Ooh, let me drop some knowledge on that ass. So the Ball family is a family based out of California. I think Valley area. I'm sure our fans let us know, but there's a special, I think 30 for 30 on these guys. So the dad is a dad who raised the family they just focus on basketball. And they're all ballers. There's three brothers. The older brother, Ball, plays for UCLA. He's one of the best players in the nation. The other brother is like one of the number one recruits in the nation high school. And there's a little brother who's also, and they're all already offered and committed to UCLA. And their whole thing is his dad goes, hell yeah, every one of them is one and done. They're going to play 1 year of college ball, then go to the pros. And he goes, my challenge to them is, why can't you be better than Michael Jordan? And then also the dad's like, he's a helicopter parent. He's like one of those the pageant moms, but he's a pageant sports dad. Like, he's a sports dad. So he's at every event. He's documenting everything. He created a YouTube channel for the brothers. They have a disagreement. They play basketball. He has merchandise. You know, I think it's B3 merch. It's like BBB basketball or some shit like that. Brothers ball basketball or some, I don't know what it is, but it's something like that. And they're documenting everything, making these sizzle reels. And the dad's just very social media, like in your face, recording everything, talking shit. I think the dad said back in the day he could beat Michael Jordan one-on-one or something like that. But he's kind of, he's the pageant mom. He's the equivalent of that, but in sports. So a lot of people have problems with him, but there's no doubt his kids have skills like crazy. No doubt. And his dad also suggested that Nike give that family $1 billion basketball shoe contract. Because he goes, they're all going to be, you know, go to the NBA, give us $1 billion right now. So he's obviously, this is tough here because I was talking about business and taking advantage of like your opportunity, and your window is so small, and this dad gets it from that angle. But I would be curious to see the relationship, and I don't know any of this. I'd be curious to see the relationship between the fathers and sons off camera, because that has to be exhausting.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the son who plays for UCLA, who's the Super Bowl, and they're going to March Madness, you know, the son, he's kind of reserved. He's not really a shit talker, but the dad will talk shit for him. So I feel like it's a little embarrassing, and I don't know. I can see why he's doing what he's doing, and he's getting his son's name out there. We're obviously talking about him. They've been on ESPN now. Everyone knows his family. It puts a lot more like eyeballs on the kids, but there's also a lot more pressure that most kids won't have to deal with, even if they're high ranked players. So I don't know, man. If you know, and I think if you go around anywhere in the nation, it's no different than I was watching the Nickelodeon freaking Kids' Choice Awards, and some little dime piece won an award. He looks just like Justin Bieber, won some award for Rodney Danger, some whatever the fuck show he is. He's like Rodney, and he goes, I just want to thank my mom and dad for driving me every day or every weekend from San Diego to LA for auditions. You know, so those are parents who are doing whatever it takes to make sure their kid's successful, and they're monitoring, you know, the look, and he's probably missing school, and they're getting him headshots, and he's taking acting class. Like, that's no different than this dad documenting everything they do in basketball, making Instagram, making merchandise, trying to negotiate shoe deals. It's just weird, man, but it happens everywhere. It's just spotlighted on this one family because the dad's so vocal and so out there. And the other reason why this is such a big deal and gets so much attention right now is because the three kids can fucking play. And they grew up playing. Their competition is each other. One wants to be better than the other. The other wants to be bigger than the other. So they said the older brother, who's the ball at UCLA right now, they go, yeah, if he's one and done, the other brothers are one and done. Because no one wants to do 2 years if only one did one and made it to the NBA. So it's kind of cool. Now, the chance of all three of them being NBA players, not good. Chance of, not saying they're not going to get drafted because they all have commitments from UCLA. They're all obviously ridiculous good at basketball. The chance of them making an impact in the NBA, I should say, is very, very rare. Especially the other one's kind of small. So we'll see. But it's an interesting story. If you haven't looked at it, they're on YouTube. You can't miss them. The Ball family. Just on YouTube, search Ball family. You know, and a lot of people have problems with it, but I think it happens everywhere. Everywhere in football. You know, I went to my lawyer's high school football game and watched her kid play, and I see parents just, you know, playing helicopter and making sure they're controlling everything, and they're filming everything, and social media and all. This is just highlighted because the kids are so goddamn good. Tiger Woods' dad did, if you remember. Tiger Woods' dad led him down that road. Like, there's been a history of this, man. There really is. There's a lot of people who have done this before. Just now we're in a time where you can see more access of it because of social media, because of YouTube. And this dad's kind of killing it. Do I agree with it? Not to the extent he's doing it. I get being a proud parent and making a business and capitalizing off, you know, these little dudes. But I don't know, man. You'd have to talk to the kids to get a real understanding of how they feel, because that's what matters.
The first thing that I thought of as soon as you said that was the Jackson family. It reminded me so much and then we wouldn't have Michael Jackson if that didn't happen, right?
But then again, you wouldn't have crazy Michael Jackson sucking little kids' dicks and turning his skin white. If the dad didn't fucking grind them into the goddamn ground and make them weird as fuck. You also wouldn't have that. But to your point, you wouldn't have Janet Jackson. I love me some Janet Jackson. You know? You might not have Bieber if the mom wasn't fucking, I don't know how they raised
I
that
think
kid.
his dad and his mom were crazy like that too.
Yeah.
Oh, crazy. I don't know if that's crazy in a bad way or crazy in a good way, but
You see B? I saw B. I think he's on World Star. I love World Star, but Bieber's. I think he's in Australia or something. He's like eating a sucker, and some girl just comes up and like gets right up on him, take a selfie, and he goes, "Damn, man! Like you're rude. You're invading my space." And he probably said the worst thing he could possibly say to someone who's balls deep a fan of Justin Bieber. He goes, "You're disappointing me, man. It's fucking disappointing." Gets in his car. And
wow, that is hard.
Yeah, if you're the fan, you're like, oh my God, I just disappointed Justin Bieber. Like, there'd be a worse thing to say. You're really disappointing me. You let me down. All right, I'll see you later.
He knows what he's doing there.
Oh, yeah. Bit of a dick. I think he charges for selfies, too.
Really?
Have you heard that? Yeah, I think he asked for like $20. What little girl's like, fuck, hold on. I have $7 and, all right, it's $7, some Mentos, and a grapevine. Will that do it? Like, what the fuck? It's $20?
That is sad.
How much money do you need? I'm pretty sure he charges people for selfies.
What a bummer.
Losing touch with reality, man. I'm telling you, you should bring up those ball kids.
The ball kids?
Yeah, I'm telling you. And tell me what you guys think.
So you just said YouTube ball kids, right?
Ball family.
Ball family. All right, let's see what happens here. Christmas Day with the Ball brothers?
The Ball family. So the Ball family's Kardashians of sports. The Ball So go to the Ball brothers are ready for prime time.
Are they? So they are half white, right? They look half white. You know
Will the fans be able to hear anything?
Yeah, let me throw it on your TV real quick, though.
Yeah, I just want people to be able to.
Hell no. Gang time! Gang time!
So it shows them playing basketball, playing the NBA 2K17.
It's playing Hall of Fame.
That's the one that goes to UCLA. Super baller.
Oh, listen. Take this outside
There's the dad.
on the real court. If you haven't heard of the Ball family, we are super energetic and fun to watch. Whatever we do.
Damn, he has a horrible yellow tooth.
He looks like he's half white, too.
He's the head leader. He's going to do whatever it takes to win. My middle child, Jello, who's 6'6", 240. He can't be guarded. The pure scorer.
6'6", 240, high school.
Shot is a bad shot for him. Mello, that's the wild child. If Mello feels he can take you every time, he's going to have 70 points and make everybody else rebounders.
I pass the best, and I'm the most athletic, but we all add something different to the table.
I'm the best basketball player in the family. I could do it all. I don't believe that anyone can guard me.
I think I dribble better than both of them, and
The young one's nice.
fans like it.
Mello, he's 15 years old now, 6'3", 6'4". He still can't dunk, but I mean.
Oh, damn, I didn't know the little one was 6'3". Yeah, so they're all fucking big.
UCLA became must-see TV when Ball showed up. He's lived up to expectations.
I chose UCLA because I wanted to stay home. Ever since a young age, we all like UCLA. And we even went to a camp when we was little. I went there. It just happened that my other two brothers wanted to come to.
Proactive needs to jump on this family, too. Huh? If I'm proactive, this is a walking commercial.
If they can fix it, then it'll be the best
I don't know if
thing
they
ever.
can, but god damn. All this money you're making off YouTube, get a dermatologist.
They have a very, very interesting look.
Done, so that's probably not going to happen.
They're all so good.
Made it sophomore year, Coach Alfred knew what the deal was. He's a player coach. He's not focused on himself. He wants the best for me, and we all know that, it's my last year, and I'm going to leave.
All my boys going to be one and done, yes. We trying to get to the NBA as quick as possible. They want that challenge. I've told my boys this. Somebody got to be better than Michael Jordan. Why not you?
Isn't that interesting? Isn't that cool, man?
6'6", 240. And was that the college or high school kid? I don't know.
He's high school,
huge.
and then the youngest one's 6'4", and he's super young, too.
God.
Isn't it crazy? That whole family, man.
Well, that's kind
I
of
gotta look more into it before I judge them, but yeah, they're the Kardashians of basketball. But they actually have a talent. All of them have a talent. They're ridiculously good. All right, let's move on from the Ball family.
You want what? 1-2 more questions?
Sure, man.
Cool.
Cool.
Dominate humbly. Hey, Brendan Schaub, what happened to the MMA Association?
Good question. Last I knew, Tim Kenny and others have been going around. They're going to camps, meeting with the Jacksons, aka ATT, all those huge super camps. They're going around to them and talking to the fighters and trying to get everyone to kind of come together, and the reason why the association is important. So I think by Tim Kenny retiring, it's only going to help the association. They got some walls to climb through. A lot of guys, aren't on board once they had, I support them, but they came out on the wrong foot, with Bjorn, speaking out and stuff like that. You only get, and this was my suggestion, you get one chance to make a first impression. That first impression's out the way. You fucked up. So now that they're hopefully with Tim being able to focus on more, they can kind of knock those walls down, but they get some work to do. They fucked up releasing that early, and then with Cowboy being one of the faces of it, and then Dana White goes, "Oh, what are you doing? Let me talk to you," and then he's fucking out. It looks bad, man. You got to make sure that you pick the right group of guys who are relentless and they're down for the cause that by any means necessary. Meaning, if Dana turns to him, he's not going to turn him over and get him on their side, because that just it just makes a joke of the association what they're trying to do. So they get their hands full, man. They really got their work cut out for them. But if there's anyone who can get it done, it's Tim Kennedy. And if you're going to listen to a guy who's been around the business, a smart dude, and fought for your freedom, it'd be Tim Kennedy. So I don't know exactly where they're at right now, but I support whatever Tim does, and he knows that, and they can always reach out to me for whatever they need. But they had some shit to get done, man. It's an uphill battle, and they just went off on the wrong foot. You're climbing Everest and you forget your fucking snowshoes. You have to go back, repack, get your shit together, and hopefully approach it a different way this time. And forgetting those snowshoes was coming out with Bjorn as your face of your fucking association. It was such a mistake, man. It's infuriating. It's infuriating.
Did anyone say whose call that was, or did he just kind of do that on his own, like out of nowhere?
No, they thought it'd be good to get him involved because, there's not too many promoters in the world, and he's one of like 6 who have been there and done that. And he knows what UFC's rebuttal is going to be to certain points, which is great. And I'm on board having Bjorn part of it behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Have him just as a guy who, hey, what the UFC going to do here? What's Dana going to do here? What's the next step? What should we do here? How are they going to come back and rebuttal this? But you don't want him as a face of it. And have him being the only one that spoke out for like 2 or 3 weeks. I know that's gone away, but you get one chance to make a first impression. If anyone brings up to me, I go, how about Bjorn, the association? I go, oh my God, he's not the face of the association again, but that's what everyone came out and saw. So, but Tim Kenny would be able to speak more on that. We're gonna have him on the show pretty soon.
Sweet. Okay.
One more.
Drew 0707. Brendan would love for a segment called I Told You So or My Bad. Maybe a recap at the end of the week where you give breakdowns on things you just called right. Let me say that one more time. Where you give a breakdown of things you called right or stuff you were way off. Just an idea. Great show. Keep up the amazing work.
I like the idea. It's pretty funny. But my bad or I told you so. There's really no I told you so or my bad in the sport. It's like when I make fight picks, I think it's interesting, man. Like with Robin Black or Rogan, obviously Rogan's involved with the UFC, so he can't make fight picks. That's a bad look. I get that. I never asked him to make picks. I asked for his influence. I asked for which way he's leaning, but he's not going to tell you picks, on camera. I get that. He works for them. He's not supposed to do that. But with Robin Black, he goes, I don't like to make picks because you never know what's going to happen. Or when I make a pick and someone goes, yeah, but how do you know? I'm not positive. I know from my line of work, my experiences fighting the UFC, commentating on the UFC, being an analyst of the sport, and doing my research, who I think is going to win and how. And I do not give a fuck if I'm wrong. That's just my opinion. This is what I think is going to happen. I think it takes, who cares if you're wrong? It's fighting. Like Dariush was my underdog pick of the fight. Mm-hmm. Dariush was winning that fight. He was looking fucking good. If that would have went on like that for 3 rounds, he wins the fight. I thought he had the skills to beat Barboza. I didn't think Barboza looked good. I don't think Barboza can beat champ at 55. I just don't. I don't think it's for him. So people, tweet me, last time I listened to your pick. All right. Yeah, I didn't know Barboza was going to fucking get his ass whooped for 1.5 rounds and land some random ass knee and knock him out. That's the sport of MMA. But I also don't care. Like, I think so many analysts or so many guys who do this job are scared to make picks. Who cares if you're wrong? Sport of MMA, man. Like, anything can happen. But at least give your opinion. Don't play this fucking teeter-totter because you're scared of rebuttal. You're scared to voice an opinion. That I can't stand. Fucking draw a line and stand and make a decision, man. Who cares if you're wrong? So many guys are scared of being wrong. I don't give a fuck. It is what it is. That's what I thought at the time was going to happen. A lot of times I'm right. More times I'm right than not. Especially if it's a bigger fight, I'm usually really good at calling the fights correctly. If it's the smaller ones, I don't put a lot of time in it. I just go based off my memory and stuff like that. You know, that's why I say don't bet on a lot of the fights because I'm usually super biased too. If it's a friend of mine, if I've trained with the guy, if I know the guy, I'm usually going to pick him. So, yeah, that's a great idea. But yeah, I don't know about that. Great idea. And then I did get the one, especially my boy Joe Romero, Average Joe Art at Average Joe Art, who makes all our tour pictures and a lot of our T-shirts. Hogoso and Skeptical Hippo and Steak and Suck tea that's coming out soon, I think next week. His question was, why don't you, since I would say my Mount Rushmore is like, whatever, 50 guys, 100 guys, because you can't just have 4. He goes, why don't you just do it for each weight class then?
Yeah.
Which I'd be down to do. I'd have to think about it. I'm just going to rip it off the top of my head, but for the next one, we'll do that. I'm down to do that. So I see those questions, and we'll knock that out. But, yes, thank you again for listening to Big Brown Breakdown. You guys have made it the biggest sports podcast in the world. You guys are straight up animals, and I can't thank you enough. I love doing it. I really do. I didn't think I'd enjoy this as much. I think it's a collaborative effort with Chin and Agent A and just the positivity I get from you guys. So I'm going to keep on keeping on. And the next Big Brown Breakdown is live in La Jolla, California. It's SoCal, basically San Diego. I don't care what you guys say. At the Comedy Store, La Jolla. tfatk.com for tickets. That bad boy is almost sold out. And till next time, bigger, browner, badder. I'm Brendan Schaub. Thanks for listening.